Greetings, family. This is Cassandra-Floyd, also known as the Daughter of the Fates, founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. I know I sprung this on y'all, and I know it's hella late, but I wanted to go ahead and do a live tonight for a number of reasons. One, because I don't think y'all didn't hear from me yesterday, and so I wanted to give you some updates. And then two, because there were some things I wanted to talk to you guys about. What you doing up? What you doing up, Sage Page? I gotta talk low because it's hella late. It's 12:30-ish here, and so I ain't trying to disturb nobody. So I'm gonna do the conspiracy, but I'm gonna do it without my shaker. But anyway, there were some things that I just wanted to put y'all up on. Like, a lot has happened. When I got goosebumps just saying that. A lot has happened close to, let's see, yesterday was Tuesday, so Monday was the last live I did. From Monday to right now, 12:30. So fucking much has happened. So much has happened. So much has happened. Greetings, save our trees. As a matter of fact, let me go grab my phone real quick too. I'm gonna go ahead and live stream from my phone too. Little girl. So much has greetings, Sahara. So much has happened. So give me a second. I wasn't going to stream, but I think I am. I'm gonna stream from my IG. So let me just turn that on real quick. So much has happened in the 24 hours since I saw y'all last. And so today, yesterday, technically, the 16th, I needed a break. And so the reason I'm so energized now is because I went to sleep. Well, I'll tell you, I slept most of the day. Like 85% of the day, I slept. Truth be told, like 85% of the day, I slept. And didn't really realize how much. My bad. Didn't really. Oh shit! That's not. Damn it! Didn't really realize how much I needed that sleep. I needed that sleep. I slept. I didn't wake up until about 9:30. I mean, I was up off and on, but like significantly enough to do a single thing. Nope, not a single thing. I didn't do a single thing today except eat and use the bathroom and go back to sleep and get up and check an email or two and go back to sleep. That was it. So let's see here. All right. And I didn't realize how much I needed it. I needed it. I slept like the freaking dead all day. All day. All right. So let me turn this on. And before I get going good, we're going to get ready to do our conspiracy. And my mission really is to my mission is to memorize the conspiracy. That's what I'm working on this week, is just in little chunks, memorizing the conspiracy. That's my goal. Okay. So we're going to get started. Like I said, I'm not going to use my little noise maker because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to disturb my neighbors. So the conspiracy to right all wrongs. Let's go. Oh, you know what? Let me grab. And that. Because I think the last couple of times I forgot to do those. Okay. All right. We are the breakers of curses, the casters of glorious conspiracies, and the creators of the new world. I, Cassandra-Floyd, am a divine instrument of my mother's divine will. As such, I am protected and guided by the sacred blood and water of my mother, Jacqueline Jeanette Cook's body, that anointed my entry into this life. I am divine because she is divine. Mommy and I are one. I call all of our mothers to this moment. I call on they who govern everything, all time and every space in between. She with 10,000 names. Today it is Oya, Yamaya, Oshun, Iyami Aj, the divine architects of existence, usheresses of the new age. Mommy and I are one. I call upon all the divine ancestresses and the Ashe of every mother on earth to break every curse ever cast upon the mother and her children, in all timelines and in every dimension. Mommy and I are one. We, the divine children, we, the mother's divine children, conspire to get together today to forever bind those who have or would harm you, great mother. Mommy and I are one. We conspire together today to destroy everything and everyone in every timeline and dimension that is caused suffering and despair. Mommy and I are one. Today, we embody the sacred and divine power of our mothers. Today, we the tree, we the weavers rewrite all time. Today, we the tree, we the weavers rewrite the book of life. Today, we, our mother's children, call the winds of change. We conjure the primordial dark. We summon the sacred serpent deep from within the earth. We subdue the rogue sun. We control the light. We heal the harmed. We embolden the fearful, and we instill courageous action. Today, we are staging a global evolution as is our mother's divine will. Mommy and I are one. We, the architects of the new age now, create the new institutions, the new traditions, the new culture, and the new ways of being. We ecstatically welcome the radical destruction of all institutions of hate and harm erected by the godheads of war. Mommy and I are one. We have the power. We have the voice. We are the portals of change. Now we employ our sacred breath and we give life and sacred blood to this conspiracy. Mommy and I are one. We command, come the wind, come the storm, come the lightning. Capture and judge all godheads of war and all betrayers of the mother's divine will. Bring their confusion and war to an immediate end. Scatter them to the oblivion, never to be resurrected. We are the fates. We are the furies. We are the Iyami Aj. We are the disseminators of divine time, divine retribution, divine rectification, and evolutionary justice. We are the restorers of heaven on earth under the mother's divine reign. We wake the sacred serpent from her sleep to assist us in this sacred assignment. Love unlimited is our birthright. Harmony is our birthright. Ecstasy is our birthright. Pleasure is our birthright. Freedom is our birthright. This is her divine will. We are the divine executors of her will. We speak her will into the now to reverberate throughout all time, all space, and all dimensions. It is certainly as we say, forever and ever. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. All right, family. That is that. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to read the prophecy from the Sybil, from the book. Did I take it out again? Yep. Okay. Thrice 300 years having run their course of fulfillment, Rome by the strife her people shall perish. Rome is doomed to perish, and that indeed. Ooh, child, hold on. Oh man. Yes. And that indeed by the judgment of God, because it held her name in hatred, and being the enemy of righteousness, it destroyed the people who kept the truth. There shall come to thee from some time above a heavenly stroke deserved, O haughty Rome, and thou shalt be the first to bend thy neck and be razed to the ground, and thee shall fire destructive utterly consume, cast down upon thy pavements, and thy wealth shall perish, and wolves and foxes dwell in thy foundations. And then thou shalt be wholly desolate, as if not born. That prophecy comes from the Sibyls, the first prophetesses of Mami Wata, and the theft of African prophecy by the Catholic Church. And then lastly, I will read our standard conspiracy. I, Cassandra-Floyd, is a peculiar expression of the Almighty Divine She, the Great Cosmic Mother, now join in breath with my global family to conspire on behalf of the whole made well. We are breathing these words together to ensure that our home, her body, is restored to her original perfect glory. Her glory is perfect in peace, love, bliss, happiness, and ecstasy. This world exists because we collectively will it so. We, as the representatives of the Mother's reign on earth, speak this beautiful conspiracy as a single, cosmic, earthly orchestra to guarantee heaven on earth in joyful compliance with our Mother's divine will. Possessing the power of our mothers, we speak this glorious future now. It is certainly as we say, Mommy and I are one. So, so yeah, I just want to give y'all some updates before we get started. Greetings, Karen, Claudia Ankra, Sage Page, Ahara, ML, Sage Page. Hold on, who else is there? Yeah, I'm not gonna put those on right now. Let's see. And Bolaji on IG, Save Our Trees. Okay. All right. So I'll give y'all some updates, and then we gonna rap about what's been happening over the last 48 hours or so. Greetings, Persis. I don't know what's going on with my IG channel. This shit with my electronics is like really pissing me off. Check because my shit's frozen. It looks like I'm about to have to redo this. Yeah. Whatever. Oh, damn. All right, I'm trying to shoot again. Okay, so first of all, I have really great news. I'm gonna go into detail about the great news, but I just want to say right out the jump, I met my goals. So that is exciting. I want to thank all of you for your contributions, for your donations, for your booking readings and wellness consultations with me. For those of you who have purchased product on the Daughter of Fates Etsy store, I just really want to express an extraordinary amount of gratitude for you guys really showing up and helping me accomplish my goals. As of yesterday morning, Tuesday morning, I was still short by a lot, and I don't know if they're going to feel comfortable. I don't know if they're going to feel comfortable with me saying their name, but this brother who is a supporter, he's been a supporter of the channel for about maybe a year and a half, 2 years now, called me in the morning and was like, how much you short? And I was like, I told him what it was, and it was significant. I mean, I'd raised about half up until that point. And he sent me a really sizable donation for the remainder of the amount that I owed. So I am in the clear, totally in the clear. So that was an extraordinary blessing. I had been literally working, I ain't gonna lie, man, like 16 hours a day trying to address this thing while still meeting obligations. And so that was just not only was it an extraordinary blessing, that blessing was so needed because it afforded me the opportunity to collapse today and make the commitment that I wasn't doing anything today. I literally slept all day. When I say all day, I mean all day long. I got up intending to, quote, get busy and do stuff. And I just decided to honor my body. I was in a lot of pain this morning, like a lot of pain. I went out for what was supposed to be just like a 1 hour walk on the beach last night, just to, just like the purge, you feel me? So I went out on what was supposed to be a 1 hour walk on the beach yesterday. And I ended up, because time slows or flies. Is that time flies or slows? I can't even. Let me just say, I thought I was on the beach for about 2 hours, and I deliberately left my phone in the car. I left everything in the car. I was like, I'm just going to go out here, walk on the beach, do a little dumpster diving. I've never dumpster dived until the other day when I told y'all I saw all those cans in my trash can. I had never dumpster dived. I saw all those cans and bottles in my apartment complex. And then so I went in there to get all the tops and the tabs and shit like that. And so yesterday, which was the next day, I was out at the beach and I was like, you know what? Let me just open up each can as I walk by and see if there's anything on the top, like on top of the trash. So like plastic bottle tops, the can tabs, you feel me? And that ended up being like a project. I was like, you know what? Yes, I'm going to dumpster dive. And so I went dumpster diving yesterday while I was at the beach. So I just found a bag, took the bag and said I was going to, just collect bottle tops and can tabs. Let me tell you what happened last night. So first of all, I think that I am just on the beach for 2 hours, right? Because I went on the beach and then I also went all the way down the pier. And the pier is I would say about a half mile long, right? And so the pier has trash cans all the way along it, all the way out, because people be fishing out there all the time. And so I'm, going through the trash cans and I am well dressed. It's not like I don't look like I look now. Like right now, I look like a ragamuffin. Like I literally just woke up because I just woke up at 9:30. That's why I'm so energized right now, is because I literally slept all day. You feel me? And so I looked great last night. You know what I'm saying? I had a pretty black dress on with flowers on it, and my hair was half kind of way done and shit. But I'm going through all these trash cans. Let me tell you something, y'all. I had about, I'd say 5 or 6 people stop me and ask me, did I need money to get something to eat? That I did not need to be digging in the trash can. You don't have to do that. Man, you don't have to do that. I will help you get something to eat. So I'm telling you, 5, 6, maybe more than that. But, I'm trying to explain to people like, yeah, I know it looks crazy, especially for me to be dressed the way that I am, to be digging in the garbage. I said, I'm an artist and I'm working on a project and I need plastic bottle tops and can tops. That's why I'm digging in the garbage. One dude, he was so concerned, a young black guy, he was so concerned. He approached me while I was digging in the garbage can, and he was like, ma'am, get out of that garbage can. No, ma'am, don't do that. He started pulling money out of his wallet. He was like, just take the money. Just take it. Let me buy you something to eat. Just take it. And he started trying to force the money into the bag that I was holding, putting the bottle tops and shit in. I was like, I said, no. I said, I do not need your money, baby. Take your money. I really appreciate it. I really do. He was like, why are you arguing with me? Just take the money. Just take the money. I said, I don't need the money, baby. I said, look in my bag. I said, it's just bottle tops and can tops in there. I'm working on an art project. I'm not hungry, I promise. And so he was like, oh, okay. It was like, it was just interesting. It was interesting that happened so many times in such a short period of time. So, I'm doing my thing. And like I said, when I get ready to walk back to the car, now I'm hurt. I don't realize that I've been out there as long as I have. I went out there thinking I'd only been out there maybe 2 hours, hour 45 minutes, 2 hours. Child, I get back to the car and check my phone. I have been walking for 5 hours straight, not sitting down, just 5 hours digging through the garbage, walking over here, walking over there, feeling the breeze from the beach, and just got completely lost in the time. 5 hours later, child, and I'm walking back to the car. I'm like, damn, why my feet hurt so bad? Like, why is my low back hurting? Because I don't have pain typically. So I'm like, damn, my back is really hurt. Like, what the fuck? Right? And my feet are hurt. Like, I'm struggling to walk back to the car. Like, what the fuck? I was like, this ain't like me. Like, I go hiking, y'all. I go walking. Child, I get back to the car and realize that I have been bent over, digging in the garbage can, one garbage can, two garbage cans, three garbage cans, walking, and not just walking through the sand. Y'all know how hard it is to be walking through the sand? Child, listen, I got back to the car and realized I had been bent over or traipsing through the sand, struggling in the sand. You feel me? 5 hours. So I woke up this morning fucking hurt. When I say hurt, I mean hurt. I felt like an old ass, decrepit ass person. Ooh, I hobbled everywhere in the house today. Every time I'm going anywhere, I'm like, oh, child, a whole mess. A whole ass mess today. I said, I ain't doing another fucking thing today. When I tell you I did not, the most I've done is to open my front door. I haven't walked out my house. Chat, I ain't did nothing today. You feel me? So that happened. But let me tell you something. I'm walking on the pier. I'm looking at the stillness of the beach. It's just beautiful. Yesterday, I needed that trip to the beach just to feel that, like, shh, right? So I was walking on the pier and I was like, man, what a beautiful day. Like, today was really just perfect. It was really just perfect. Like, the peace of the day was just really perfect, right? I said, it'd be nice. This is what I'm thinking in my head. It'd be nice to see a sign like, let me see a little something in the water. And then I thought about it. I was like, today was the sign. Like, I don't need a sign. Today was the sign, right? I literally had said that in my head. So as I'm leaving the beach and I'm circling the block, and I see an open I see another open dumpster. I was like, okay, this is the last time I'm gonna stop. So I get out of the car to go, and it's discreet too. It's like out of sight. So I get out the car to go dig in this very last dumpster before I go home, right? Baby, when I tell you, let me tell you about a motherfucking sign. I literally said that shit walking on the pier, going back to the car. I said, it'd be nice to get a little sign. And then I had to stop myself. Like, today was the sign. Like, today was actually a perfect day. All day perfect, right? So I go to dig in this last dumpster, baby. And let me tell you what the fuck I found in this last dumpster. Let me tell you what the fuck I found. Let me tell you what the fuck I found in this dumpster. It was like a whole row of dumpsters, like people's actual trash cans, like the recycling bins. So there was like three, because it was an apartment complex. So it was like three or four recycling bins. And so I'm going through the recycling bins for the cans and shit. So I went through all of them. And in each can, I found this. I found this. I found a 3-card reading. I found a card in each. Talk about random as fuck. I found a card in each trash can. In the very last, quote, dumpster I went to go dive in before home. I was like, okay, this is the sign. I'm taking my ass home. Listen, the Ace of Wands. This is the back of the card. An 8 of Hearts. And a Joker card. Look at that. A Joker card, right? A gold Joker card. See that? With a little, like it looked like a little chicken on it. Right? A little Joker card. And look at the back of the card. on the back of the goddamn card, y'all. This is what's on the back of the goddamn Joker card. Okay. Y'all see that? That happened. So of course, I'm going to, interpret my little reading. Cause I was like, yo, what? Oh my God, look at this. This is amazing, right? So I go to interpret the reading, right? And baby, y'all remember the reading I did on Monday? Remember the 3 cards that I pulled for the temple? So hard, why it gotta be petty? So y'all remember the reading that I did on Monday, right? I'm gonna remind you in case you don't, or in case you wasn't up on here, right? But I did a reading for us on Monday. I did a reading for the temple on Monday. And when I tell you, I was like, y'all, you know what? Spirit, you better come on in the motherfucking room. When I told y'all, I be telling y'all, man, when spirits show up, especially these days, like it's always been that way in my life since I took an active position about what my purpose was in this next period. But when I tell you, and I always told y'all, my prayer, especially when I was driving for 6 weeks across this country, my only prayer was, my 2 prayers, as a matter of fact. The first time I ever prayed on my own, of my own accord, the first time I ever prayed, I was 34, I think. I was 34, 33, 34. The first time I ever prayed of my own accord, voluntarily, because I wanted to, from my perspective of belief. I was told to pray to Eshu. And my prayer, the first time I prayed, my prayer was, I was an asshole. I said, look, Eshu, if you real, then you know me. And if you know me, you know I don't need no signs, no symbols, no shit I need to interpret, no shit I need to go to somebody else to interpret. If you real, I need you to spell it out to me like I'm 3 years old. I said, I need to know it that confident, like I'm 3 years old. And baby, when I tell you Eshu showed the fuck up and showed the fuck out. And so I've always prayed like that since that day. I was an atheist the first time I prayed to Eshu. The first prayer I ever prayed, I was an atheist. I said, if this shit real, if I'm going to be up in here calling myself a devotee, I need you to spell it out like I'm 3 years old. That was verbatim, word for word, the very first prayer I prayed on my own. You feel me? Because my life in Christianity don't count. You feel me? And baby, when I tell you, I had a very specific question. I had a very specific question of Eshu. It wasn't like no ambiguous shit. I had a very specific question of Eshu, child, and within the next 12 hours, Eshu showed up and showed the fuck out. I was shook. I was shook to my fucking core. You feel me? I've prayed that way ever since. People be laughing when I say this is how I pray. I'm not telling, I don't be on no solemn. I don't be doing none of that shit. Why do that? If spirit know me, the spirit know I'm putting on a motherfucking performance, bitch. Like, why you gonna pray like that, but then you like this every other time in your life? Everywhere else you like this, but when you quote pray to spirit, you own some other shit that's not you all the time. I don't pray like that. You feel me? When I was coming across the country, when I was driving across the country, so that's the first prayer. Spell it out. Make yourself known. Spell it out like I'm 3 years old. That's it. You feel me? The second prayer, when I was driving across this country 8 years ago, was allow me to be open to receive whatever it is I need to receive, even if it makes me uncomfortable. Allow me to be open to receive whatever is for me, even if it makes me uncomfortable. And listen, when I tell you, spirit be showing all the way out. Like, bitch, we want you to know it's us and not that bullshit y'all call a coincidence, not that bullshit y'all call synchronicities, not that bullshit y'all got a name for everything. And so we want to make sure that you know it's us. So we gonna kick the door in full effect in full effect, butt naked, like you three, so you can know right the fuck away. Kick the door and we up in here. Now what? That's how it is. That's how it is. So even me walking on that damn pier last night, in my mind, just saying, it'd be nice to see a little sign, like a little animal pop up in the water, whatever. And just as quick as I said that in my mind, I was like, today was the sign. Today was a great day. Like from the moment my eyes opened all the way up until that moment, today was the sign. Like I don't need a sign. Today was the sign. The last trash can I fucking stop at, I get a whole reading in the garbage can. I found these cards in the garbage can. Okay? The last one was this card, the Joker card, with a whole ass $100 bill, gold dollar bill on the back. I said, well, all right then. Thank you for the sign. Needed that. That's how they do. Right? So I interpret the cards. I'm going to tell you about the cards now. But the first thing I remember was like, God damn, I just did a reading for the temple on Monday. I just did a read for us on Monday. When I tell you almost word for word the same, this interpretation is the interpretation of the cards that I pulled for us from our actual deck on Monday. I said, well, come on in the goddamn room then. So let me tell you what these cards say. And then I'm gonna do what you call it? Like a quick summary of the cards that we had that we pulled. What was that card? Oh, and the blue Tara too. Yeah, those cards that we pulled on Monday. Okay. So so the first card I picked up was the Eight of Hearts. Okay. And I don't really know cartomancy like that. So all I did was a couple of Google searches on each one of the cards in their spiritual meetings because I don't do quote cartomancy. Feel me? I know there's like overlap between regular tarot and cartomancy, but I'm not like a professional or anything on cartomancy. All right. So the Eight of Hearts was the first card I found in the garbage. Okay. And the card was baby, let me tell you about today. The first card I got was this card, the Eight of Hearts. And the first thing that I read, because like I said, I just keep what resonates with me. If I feel it, I keep it. If it don't apply or don't resonate, I leave it where it is. So the first thing was it says this card is a sign of good good blessings and good fortune when dealing with lovers, family members, especially children, unexpected gifts and invitations, happiness, unexpected visits, good news, fulfillment of wishes and desires. Okay, so that's the eight. That's the Eight of Hearts. All right, that I pulled at the garbage at like 2:00, 3:00 in the goddamn morning last night. Right. So let me stop there and tell you about this Eight of Hearts. Okay. This Eight of Hearts, for me, obviously, it was this gift that I got from this brother who has been supporting the channel, who helped me meet my goal that I was sufficiently short in, right? Short in. And out of nowhere, first thing in the morning when I hit the floor, he's like, yo, what you need? Cool, right? And so I was like, okay, there it is. Look at that confirmation, right? That was the first thing. I was like, yes, that happened today. I got the unexpected gifts. You feel me? I got the good news and the fulfillment of wishes and desires. You understand? Like the stress instantly melted off. You feel me? Like, damn, this is dope that I pulled this card out the trash, right? And then it was talking about lovers, and I was like, damn, that ain't me though. That ain't me though. You feel me? So, maybe that don't apply to me, but I wrote it down anyway, right? I wrote it down anyway, the thing on the lovers. And then I just talked to my baby yesterday, my daughter, you feel me? Whatever. Today, I get up for one. I got up like 3 times. 3 times today, what we call it today. And I would get up long enough, to maybe check an email or check a text and then go back to sleep. Well, I was awakened by a phone call. This person that called my phone, I haven't had a voice-to-voice conversation with In 2 years. I remember exactly the last time we talked. In 2 years. I've talked about this person, never said their name, but I've talked about this person on my channel off and on for some time. I've talked about this person because of my frustration with sex and human sexuality in the city of Los Angeles. That it has been the most depressing, the most that's all I can say. The most depressing experience of my entire existence is how, you know, I do not know what's up with the culture in LA, but it's impossible for a woman to expect to be involved in a sexually fulfilling relationship of any variety. Of any variety. And I used to think that it was peculiar to me. And then the more I talk to people that are, patients of mine or clients of mine, the more I recognize that this is actually an affliction, an unaddressed affliction that is running rampant in this motherfucking city. Right. So I'm always lamenting. I told y'all the last time I had sex, I flew to another state to have sex with someone that I knew was a sure thing in terms of, because he bought everything. I didn't pay for shit. He bought my airline ticket, the hotel room, the whole 9 yards. He paid for every meal, whatever. But child, I flew all the way to Alabama for someone I had had sex with off and on for a very long time, and it was always great. And I get there, and child, the first time I was like, it's time for me to get back on the plane and take my ass home. I was so distressed. Like, no, because I knew that going was going to be the process that I needed to, quote, load the proverbial hump, if you feel what I'm saying, to load the hump of a good sexual interaction for a good 3 days before coming home, where I knew I wasn't going to be able to have sex for at least a year. You feel me? It's like that, y'all. And so over the last week, it's been, I don't know what's happening in the world, but over the last week, I have been getting come on to a lot. And I'm talking about in the most unlikely of scenarios, because I haven't been going out for like 2 weeks now. I haven't been going out, period. Even though I'll be like, damn, I really want to go out tonight, but I ain't going, right? And so to get the blood moving, like I told y'all a few days ago, I will just throw something on, go for a quick walk, go up to Hollywood Boulevard, circle the boulevard, come back home just to get the blood moving, because I'm sitting here all day. Every time, like it happened when I went dumpster diving, one of the persons who stopped me to offer me money to get something to eat, I was like, no, I explained, yeah, no, I'm good. It was another brother, 2 brothers, another brother. It was 3 brothers last night that stopped me and asked me if I needed them to buy me something to eat because they thought I was digging through the trash for something to eat. Well, this one dude, he's like, do you need some money? Like, I don't have a lot of money, but I can get you something to eat, whatever. I was like, no, I'm good. I said, thank you for asking, whatever. He was like, well, truth be told, I ain't trying to be no kind of way, but you was fine over here. And I was like, well, let me go see what she doing. And then I saw you digging in the trash. I said, thank you. I said, thank you so much. And then I went back to doing what I was doing. It's been happening like that a lot for like the last week, maybe 2 weeks, where I be looking like a hardcore ragamuffin, y'all. I be looking like a ragamuffin. You feel me? Like hair not did, throwing just anything that's halfway clean off the floor in my bedroom just to go walk somewhere to get my blood moving. And I have had so many men like stop me or approach me or be, or it was a black male gay couple. It was a black gay couple who was like, bitch, you are wearing that dress. You are fine. I was like, okay, I took that compliment. You feel me? I took that one. But there was another dude who stopped me and he was like, he was like, I look like a ragamuffin. He was like, I don't know what it is about you, but I like your swag. I like your style. Girl, I like how you walk. I was like, thank you. Appreciate you. And I commenced to walking as we were passing in opposite directions. So that's been happening a lot, right? So I'm still trying to figure out my hair. I ain't done my motherfucking hair in so long. It's shameful. My roots all crazy. You feel me? I look like a ragamuffin most days. You feel me? But these last 2 weeks, and especially brothers, this shit is unheard of in the city, by the way. This shit is unheard of, by the way. Brothers don't be jocking for sisters like that out here. I'm trying to give y'all a word. There's so much, quote, exoticism in the city. Why they got to jock for a sister? You feel me? All these Native American women and these Asian women and these Mexican women, they do not be jocking for sisters like that. So in 2 weeks, all these brothers, it's always been brothers. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I ain't even cleaned up. No makeup. I ain't did my eyebrows in an 8 child. When I tell you, up in here grinding, that's it. And every time I've been going for a walk, it's been, damn, I like your style, girl. Like, where you from? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But listen, I don't be paying that shit no mind, because I ain't giving nobody no ass here. I ain't giving nobody no ass here. Not with the experiences I done had. I be distressed because I don't even have one night stands anymore. I love having one night stands. I love the excitement of it. And in the South, it's a thing. It's a whole cultural thing. It ain't no shit people be shamed about or anything like that. Like, bitch, you going to get some strange? Like, yeah, girl, you want to come with me? Whatever. That ain't no risk you willing to take up in this bitch when 75% of the time you are going to have the wackest sex of your whole existence. It ain't no odds I'm willing to bargain with. You feel me? So I don't even have one night stands here. It took me less than a year to make that determination. Okay, cool. I'm good. Don't need no one night stands up in this motherfucking city right here. Feel me? So I'm telling y'all this for a reason. It's been really interesting that I'm telling you, at least in 2 weeks, at least 7 black men have like approached me or propositioned me or been like, yo, your ass is fine. And I'm telling you, I haven't been. So that shit ain't been happening at the club because I ain't been going to the club. That shit ain't happened when I'm all queued it up because I ain't gotten queued it up. You feel me? So I'm like, okay, whatever. Whatever's going on is whatever's going on. And the idea of like, talking or entertaining any of these discussions is not even been on the table because that's not what I'm on. So anyway, I get this 8 of hearts card, and don't consider the lover's aspect of it at all, because this is my quandary. I like to get laid regularly. And the other thing that I will say about that here is the idea, even in friends that I talk to, the idea of having, and this is something that I still feel like is a very difficult it shouldn't be, but it is a difficult conversation for adults to have, which I'm still trying to understand why. But the possibility, even considering the idea that you can have a very healthy and fulfilling sexual relationship with someone, that you are completely uninterested in being in a romantic relationship with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like the complication of like friends being lovers, right? And it not get weird and it not be complicated. You know, and I believe that's for a reason. It's funny that it happened because last week I did a reading for a girl where this was her exact situation, and because especially women, we're not given a very broad and dynamic range of scenarios with which we can have our sexual needs and desires fulfilled without it being either you're the whore or the Madonna. You feel me? Like, for you to consider the idea that there is a whole range of options between these extremes, which is the whore or the Madonna, we automatically associate, quote, what we experience in our bodies, like being turned on or heart palpitations or tingles or whatever. We automatically assume that those feelings are synonymous with love, and I must love him, so that is the only way that we can be in a relationship with one another, is love. You feel me? Or if you are engaged in a, quote, dynamic sexual life, then the rest of the society assumes that you are a whore, and whore is always synonymous with valuelessness, right? And so I was telling the same sister who I read for last week, I was like, because this was her complication. She was sexually attracted to this person that she has been a friend with for a very long time. And this person, the first thing he said was, when she, quote, made this declaration of love to him, because in her mind, for her to feel the way that she felt around him, automatically in her mind meant she must love him in that way. And so she said, I flipped out when he didn't return my affection, whatever. And she said, when I told him, the first thing he said was like, he looked really disappointed. That's what she said. He looked really disappointed. And the first thing that he said was, why do women always have to complicate good relationships? That's what he said, right? And so she got mad at that response. And they've been friends for a very long time. I said, do you trust him? She said, more than anybody else, right? Because he knows everything about me and he doesn't judge me, whatever. What she said, this is my best friend. And so she said, and I know he's like sexually attracted to me because we play around, we flirt, he touches my knee or he touches my butt or whatever. And so in my mind, all these tingles that I felt in my body, all this emotion that I was feeling must meant that I loved him. She said, but when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, okay, I love him, but I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with him. I said, you have proved my point, because the range imposed on us as women, right, it's either this or that. If you're going to have sex before marriage, you're a whore. If you wait until marriage, you're a Madonna. So even then, your sexual passion is denied you, because you can't be a passionate person. You can't be a sexually expressive person. You can't, not if you're the Madonna bitch. You can't be fully dynamic as a sexual entity if you're the Madonna. Bitch, your role is to have functional reproductive sex with your husband. So you can't be showing your titties, you can't be showing no cleavage, whatever. And so I'm telling her, have you ever considered the fact that you guys may be able to have a fully functional sexual relationship that does not require you to make a commitment that you yourself said, that ain't no commitment I'm willing to make. I'm not willing to give up my peace. I'm not willing to live with nobody. I want what I want sexually, but without giving up my peace. I was like, that is an option within this whole range. And I told her, I said, the most fulfilling, satisfying sexual relationships that I've had in my adult life have been with men that I love and we are friends. And it never got complicated. Not once. It never got complicated. Never. Not once. They were the longest relationships. They were the most satisfying relationships. And there was love. So it wasn't like no jump off shit where you feel fucked up as a woman because you know this motherfucker don't give a fuck about your life, but y'all have great sex together. That's some toxic shit. You feel me? The 3 men that I've had these type of relationships with, where our what do you call it? Our shit. Like I'm always very open with men when approaching this idea of we feeling each other. I am straight up before I ever let them get close enough. You feel me? This is what I'm about. These are my needs right now. If you are okay with these desires and they align with what you want, then we can kick it. But and I used to be real hardcore about it. Like, look, I don't want to know your family name. I don't want to know your people name. I don't want to know how many kids you got. I ain't trying to find out where you live. Like, my life is complicated as it is enough without me adding complications to it. Like, what my needs are to be frank, is to be dicked down well and regularly. That's it. And if you cool with that, then we can kick it. And so those relationships have been the most fulfilling. The reason fulfilling is because there are not only are there no strings attached, but there is no fucking judgment attached. There's never been any judgment attached to that, right? And so anyway, the reason I'm telling you this story, one of the most satisfying relationships I've ever had. I was 30 years old when I met this brother. He was 23 or 24. He had just gotten out of the military. And our first few sexual encounters were not that. They were not fulfilling. As a matter of fact, I was mad as fuck, right? And I finally had to cut his ass off. Like, you ain't gonna come over here and, think you about to have sex with me the way you be having sex with girls your age, because they don't know better yet. They don't know how to check the fuck out of you for being with that bullshit. I was like, so what you need to do, the last time we'd had sex after that, I was like, what you need to do is to delete my phone number. I said, forget where the fuck I live. Do not call. Do not come by. Tonight was the last time you're gonna see me naked. What I do? I said, don't play dumb. I said, do not play dumb, because all it do is make you look stupid. Do not play. I'm good. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. Your ass just can't come the fuck back over here, right? And and so some time went on. I think I saw him out somewhere or whatever. And he was like, yo, you still mad at me? I said, I was never mad at you. I said, I do not appreciate a motherfucker disrespecting my body. That's all. You know what I'm saying? If you're there to get for yourself what you need and you good, that's cool. We ain't the ones that's supposed to be having sex with one another. There's somebody else out there you can do that shit with. It's not me. He was like, I ain't mean it like that, whatever. I said, you did mean it like that. I said, stop saying that. You can apologize if you want to. That's fine. I'll accept your apology, but don't play stupid. Don't play stupid. You feel me? So he was like, well, like, can I make it up to you? I said, you are in luck. This is a couple of months later. I said, you are in luck. I said, because I happen to be horny enough for you to come to the house. I said, but it's on the terms that I set. It's on the you can come over on the terms that I set. If you do not meet those terms, I'm telling you, you can act like I never existed, because I will do the same. So he come over and he goes in my room and he gonna call himself getting undressed. I said, oh no, that's not happening tonight. You're not fucking me tonight. He's like, yo, what? I said, I am gonna have a great time tonight. I'm gonna have multiple orgasms. I'm gonna have a great time. Your ass is going to watch while I have a great time. I said, you're going to participate while I have a great time. You are going to do exactly what I say until I say that I am done and good, and then you can leave. I said, but you are not getting a pussy tonight. And he did exactly what I said. And from that moment on, we had a great sex life. And a long and consistent sex life. So much so, as a matter of fact, that at one point, maybe 4 or 5 years after we started having sex, he called. He was like, yo, I need to talk to you. Can I come over? I was like, all right, cool. So he's like, look, I've met someone and I really want to pursue this as a relationship with this woman. I was like, okay. I said, so what do you need from me? He was like, well, I was just coming to tell you so that, you could know and just know that this is the reason that we can't have sex anymore. I was like, okay, all right, I respect that. And that was it, right? They did their thing. They had a fucking baby. They was talking about getting married, all of that. He would see me. Hey, how you doing? Hug it up, whatever. Tell me about his life. Tell me about his new baby boy, whatever, right? He calls me later and tells me that they have split. They have split up for good. They never got married. They split up for good. And his first question was, are you single? I was like, yes, I am single. He was like, can I get some pussy? I said, you absolutely can. And we picked right back up. And then a few years after that, I met my husband and we got married. And of course, the first thing that I'm doing is calling this dude who I've been off and on in this sexual relationship with. I'm like, yo, I just need to tell you, I met someone and we got engaged very quickly. Like 3 months after we met, we got engaged. He's like, damn. I was like, I know, but that's what it is, boo. He was like, well, girl, congratulations. I'm glad you met somebody. And that was it. And as soon as we were off, me and my ex-husband, he and I were back on. Because why? Because one, I give a damn about his life. He give a damn about my life. You feel me? And we also respect one another. We respect one another. You feel me? And so this was one of three very great sexual, long, consistent sexual relationships that I had with men. Grown-up relationships where you can admit that you are attracted to one another without wanting anything more than just to have this need met with someone that you know that you are sexually and chemically compatible with, and it not be weird. And you get exactly what you need and what your heart desires in the moment from this person, and are safe to do that. It's a question that you don't hear talked about a lot. The reason I'm telling you this is because this person, this person that I have, since that first bullshit that I had to check the shit out of his ass for, that from that moment on, child, we just had great sex. Just nothing short of great. Every single time. Every single solitary time. You feel me? And last night, I'm dumpster diving in the car. And I find this card. And I interpret the card. And the first thing this is talking about is like, lovers. Old lovers, new lovers, lover potentiality, whatever. And I was like, well, I'm in fucking LA, and ain't no man up in this city interested in having, in administering and participating in great sex. So obviously that shit don't apply to me. You feel me? And I slept most of the day today, and the phone rang, and I answered the phone, and this person that I'm just talking to you guys about called my phone today. Today of all days, this person that I haven't talked to literally in 2 years called my phone on this here day after dumpster dive until 3 o'clock in the morning and finding a whole ass reading in the trash, in the garbage can. And the first card was the 8 of Hearts. Now, my interpretation of the card when I got home was like, yeah, this is great because this brother really showed up with this money that I needed, and I was tripping, and no matter how hard I worked over the last 2 weeks, I just was not getting ahead on this thing that was coming, and this brother showed up and showed out. And I was like, that's why I got this 8 of Hearts card, is just the confirmation that today was actually a perfectly great day all the way through the day. It was just great, right? And lo and behold, this brother called my phone from out of nowhere today. And all I could do was laugh. All I could do was laugh. I was like, well, look at this shit right here. Okay. I know that was a long way to talk about that card, but I feel like I needed to give you some context. Okay. And he was making fun of me because, every now and again he'll tune into my channel. And I think it was maybe, it might have been 2 years ago now, 3 years ago now when I did that live, and I was talking about sex. I was talking about lousy ass lovers in Los Angeles, and how that's the biggest thing that I miss about the South is like, I have never had bad sex in the South. Never. Well, up until this damn last time that I went to Alabama, but up until that point, I'd never had bad sex in Alabama. I mean, in the South. It's just, and not just bad sex. It's a part of a whole culture. There's something just different about the men in the South. Don't mean they ain't complicated. Don't mean they don't have their own particular brand of complications. You feel me? They got their shit like everybody got their shit in different regions, and those things may just show up differently based on culturally where you are in the world. And America is an extraordinarily culturally dynamic place. And so culturally, LA, men feeling obliged to just lay down good pipe, that's just not that's not a part of their culture. You know what I'm saying? It is not part of their cultural obligations. It's just not, it ain't it. You feel me? And I had to get used to that I just cannot expect that I am going to be laid well or sufficiently up in this. And I'm not the only one. I've met so many women who say, child, I gotta fly to New York if I expect to get laid. Work full-time in LA and be like, bitch, once a month, I'm spending a 3-day weekend with my regular over in LA or Jersey, or you got the globe trot to expect to get laid well if you live in LA. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, this is not an oddity. It is increasingly a norm. It is increasingly a concerning norm. I've said regularly, all these women who was born and raised here, I don't know how they ain't burnt the bitch down yet. I don't know how they ain't burnt this city to the ground yet. Just sexually frustrated all the goddamn time and can't figure out what the hell's wrong. Some doctor got them convinced that they suffer from some goddamn mental disorder and peeled up because a bitch just can't get laid right in this goddamn city. Anyway. And so culturally in the South, though, it's just different. It's just different. And I'm not just talking about brothers. I love brothers. You feel me? I love black men. I love black men. You feel me? But black men are not the only men I've had sex with. You feel me? And in the South, there is not a color of man that I have not had goddamn rocking ass sex with. Not a color. I do not know. Culturally, maybe it's because we in the South, or I don't know. But it is something peculiar about the Southeast region of the United States. I have never had bad sex in the South. It's like men. I have a theory. I have a couple of theories, but it's like they take that shit personal. They take that shit personal. Like, bitch, I'm coming up in here like I got some shit to prove. You ready? And I'm like, yes, I am absolutely ready for all that you have to prove, Shot. Whatever it is that you feel the need to prove to me, I am here for that. I'm here for it. Let's go. You understand what I'm saying? That is not the cultural vibe out here. It is just not. It is just not. The few, three, as a matter of fact, 3 black men that I've had sex with in this city in the 7 years that I have been here. Child, beautiful men. Ooh, beautiful to look at. You know how you see a man that's just like, your eyes feel like they hurt because motherfuckers so beautiful. Beautiful men. Beautiful bodies. Big dicks. No excuse why sex should be lousy. And worst sex I've had since I've been in this city has been with those 3 black ass men. I'm like, where the hell do they do that at? Where they do that? Where they learn that at? Where they do that at? Black men? Oh no, something is definitely in the water in this city because I ain't never seen no shit like it. I ain't never seen no shit like it. Like, no pride in the process? None. No, your ass supposed to have an ego, nigga. Like, where your ego at? Like, you supposed to go up into the shit like, let me just show this bitch who I am. None of that. Where you got an ego in every other way but the way that it counts? Ooh, child. Where they do that at? Where they do that at? Your ass got an ego in every way except the one way that it actually counts, that it actually matters. I couldn't believe it. When I say confused, dismayed, and bewildered by 3 black men, beautiful men. One of them so funny, so cool, beautiful to look at, easy to be around, and the most tragic sexual encounter I've ever had. When I say tragic. You feel me? And so, yeah, I think that's it. And then the other thing is like, the South is packed. Like, we up on top of each other and now everybody know everybody. You feel me? And so that might be the other part of it. Is like, niggas got a reputation. They got a reputation to protect. And they know that we all close and in close proximity and bitches be talking just like niggas be talking. You feel me? And so, like, the worst thing you could possibly imagine is for some woman, you know what I'm saying, that you have not taken the appropriate time with. You feel me? You haven't done what you needed to do. You haven't shown up the way you need to show up, and she go and tell her homegirls, this nigga so and this and that. He ain't it, boo. Don't just go ahead and bypass that altogether. Yeah, he fine, but girl, don't do it. Your ass will be dismayed. Your ass Greetings, Karen. I see you up in here from Mississippi. Yeah, just nah, girl. He ain't it, child. Don't even waste your time. Whatever. And then they'll give all the details about why. Cut it out. Cut it out. Don't you even start. Cut it out. They'll be don't do it, girl. Don't do it. Just trust me. Don't do it. And men know that. Men know women talk. And so if you live in a portion of the country where it's extraordinarily densely populated, LA is really spread out. Maybe that's it. Is men don't have to worry about their reputation out here. And so they can just do what they want any way they want. And there's no real social kind of repercussions. Boy, I'm gonna throw something at you. Do it again. You feel me? Anyway, I know that was a long way to talk about that card, but I just thought it was interesting because I haven't even been thinking about sex because it doesn't appear to be something that is on the horizon for me anytime soon. It just doesn't. And so it's just not something that I think about daily anymore because I love this city, but this city, the one major what do you call it? Like downside of living in this city and having the audacity to have been born female, your ass ain't getting laid. And if you do, if you take the chance, you're not getting laid well more often than not. And so I hadn't even been thinking about sex. And then this card come up, and then this nigga called me today out of nowhere. The first time I've talked to this brother in so long, like an hour and a half, talking about his baby and his life and all the things. Me talking about this and that and this and that and this and that. Like, actually, I told you, we're friends. We actually give a fuck about each other's lives. And yeah, anyway. Yeah. Anyway, so that was nice. That was very, very nice. That was very, very nice. That was very nice to hear from him today. And of course, there was some sexy talk, but it took up literally like 10 minutes of the call, just telling me, he missed me and this and this and this and this, a little more personal than that. No dick pics, no nothing like that. Just like, reminiscing about this wonderfully consistent, explosive sex life that we've had. He was 24. I was 30 when we started having sex with one another. Y'all, I'm going to be 50 in 2 months. That's a long time to be in what you can expect is a consistently fulfilling relationship with someone, because we've literally had no complications ever in that 20-year period of time. Not a single complication, not a single argument, not one, not a single fuck you, I don't ever want to see you again. Nothing. The only expectation that we've had of each other is when I text you, I'm texting. When you text me, I know why you texting. Tell me your TA. And that's it. It was good to see you, babe. All right, I'll see you next time. I'll call you in a week or so. Cool. And that's it. Ciao. Anyway, so that's the first card. Anyway, so the second card that I found in the dumpster, where did my other one go? Shit. Wait a minute. What I did with it? Damn. Well, that is weird. Did I drop it somewhere? What's that big head? What's that big head, baby? Huh. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So the second one I pulled was the Ace of Wands. See? And it is a beautiful card, right? So this is the second card I found in the garbage. See? Okay. Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands, short version. You know what? I should have crossed these with our temple interpretations. But the Ace of Wands is a representation of new. Karen Cotton says she on the floor. Hey, y'all see my little baby here looking at y'all? Y'all see her? Look, see her little pretty self looking back in the cut. Hey, baby. Hey, girly squirrely. You're just being all cute back there. Little pretty self. Anyway, so new beginnings, particularly of creative pursuits, right? transformative potential, a need to push past limitations, to really focus, for fresh new perspectives on life to come in, honoring your inner passions and desires, such as doing things. I'll get to it. Doing things you've always wanted to do, but have never taken the time or had the courage to do, like this being the card for that, right? This card representing the need, the urgency to take risks in these areas, creative pursuits, inner desires, doing those things that you've always wanted to do and never had the courage to do, right? It also represents the necessity for balance between the spiritual and the material. Represents balance, a necessity for the balance between the spiritual and the material. Is that not what I'm talking about? Literally every single time I get up on here, in one way or another, spiritual and material, right? Cool. That's that card. That card was really interesting because what because what was I gonna say? I should have just went ahead and said it. Oh, because it corresponds in a way with one of the cards that I pulled for you guys on Monday from the Medicine Woman deck, right? Honoring inner passions, the need to push through limitations, transformative potential in this period, doop-de-doo, whoop-de-boop. Last card I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all about, and then I'm going to make a comparison to this reading that I pulled for y'all on Monday, because this shit is crazy. So the last card that I pulled, again, was this gold Joker card, right? This gold Joker card with a freaking gold $100 bill thing on the back of it. Awesome. Amazing. I love it. Love it. So the Joker card is synonymous with the Fool card in the traditional tarot deck, and the Joker is like a metaphor for boy, you're doing a lot right now. Come here, you're doing a lot. Ugh. You gonna say hey? Because we're gonna start with the myth just a half a second. This is Storm, everybody. Her in the back right there that y'all see, that's Tempest. This is Storm. He's the cuddle bug. He's the love nugget. He just want to lay up on somebody all the time. She'll take a quick little 2-second hug and then she about her life. She gone about her business. But he just want to lay up. He just want to lay up. And then there's another one running out around here. He is temporarily being housed here because one of my friends who lost everything in the fires was needing a safe place for him to be. Yeah, she a cutie patootie. The one on the floor, she a cutie patootie. What you want, boy? What's up, little baby? What's up, little baby? You so fine. You so fine, boy. That's my boo. That's my boo. That's my boo right there. Come on, boy. He be doing a lot, but that's my boo. You're going about your life. So anyway, the last card. So in our deck, the Medicine Woman Guide deck, the Joker card, aka the Fool card, is called the Seed. That was the card. That was the first card that I pulled on Monday for us. Was the Seed. The Seed card. Okay, so this card here, which is the one I pulled on Monday, and this card are synonymous. Are synonymous. Okay, these cards are synonymous. We had this long conversation about this card on Monday. And then this is the card. This is the last card I pulled last night when I was dumpster diving. And then just to say, over the other cards that we've had, we pulled the Four of Stones on Monday, which is called Basic Survival, establishing a safe foundation for yourself so that you are freed up enough to take risks in those areas where you want to be creative. Look, she's making jewelry, right? She's got her home behind her. She's got a basket of food behind her. She's got the stones where she's making her jewelry. The stones represent the foundation, a sturdy foundation. And now she can peacefully make creative pursuits because the safety that allows her creative spirit to flourish is established, is cared for, it's certain. So now she can be freed up. You feel me? That was the card, the Four of Stones. Basic survival. Establish basic survival, because I'm switching back and forth between my IG live and the YouTube live. Establish a sturdy foundation so that it frees up the creative potential, right? And then the card that is my favorite card of one of my favorite cards off of our deck is called the Totem of Stones, which is the snakes, the crawlers. And this card is one of my favorite cards in this deck. This card, the snakes, the crawlers, the Totem of Stones, is about what I have always said for us in my interpretation of this card is seeing the magic in the seemingly mundane. Seeing the majesty of the small. The very last sentence in the read for that card says, it is time to study the crawlers. They are both the humble and the mighty. It is talking about, that card is talking about, the read for that card, excuse me, something's going on with my screen. Yeah, there we go. The read for that card talks about, the name of the card is Snake the Crawlers, but it's not just talking about snakes. It's talking about all of those entities that exist in our environment that are typically the creatures that we view with the most revile, with the most disgust. Maggots and gnats and flies and worms and roly-polies and all of those little creatures that we are disgusted by and that we revile and speak terrible of. But the world would not be what the world is without these creatures. This card talks about how these creatures are, in our minds, seemingly insignificant, unimportant, right? And so we don't have respect for them. But if they did not exist, these creatures that we revile, right, there would be nothing here to transform the macro that is no longer of use into the micro that can now transform this thing into something that can be used widely. For example, an elephant dies, and it is all of those creatures that ensure that the elephant's remains are transformed into the soil, making and replenishing the nutrients in the soil. All of this stuff. The earthworms churn the earth to make sure that it's nutrient rich and become soil to contribute to the growing of new crops and this and that and this and that. Everything is purposeful. So everything is important. And this card is talking about us. This card is talking about us because at the end, when it says study the crawlers, it says study the crawlers. Why? Is it just an acknowledgement of the usefulness and the importance of the crawlers? No, it is talking about you. It is talking about, listen to the word. It is talking about you and how sometimes you too feel small and insignificant. You too feel hated and reviled. You too internalize this hatred and revile, right? And so you too believe that you are insignificant. You too believe that you have no value. You have no purpose. You too become extremely small and extremely insignificant. And so it completely limits your ability to fulfill your purpose because you can't even see your purpose because you believe the hype. Do you think that the earthworm stops doing what it's there to do because humans hate it? Nope. It's like, well, I do what I do. I do what I do. And I do it effortlessly. I do it effortless. I ain't got to make no great leaps and bounds to do what it is I'm here to do. It happens exactly how it's supposed to. It happens exactly how it's supposed to, what I'm supposed to do. My importance to the macro, even though I am unseen, even though I am seemingly insignificant, my contributions are massive. That's why the last line says, study the crawlers because they are both the humble and the mighty. They are both the humble and the mighty. Being able, having the opportunity to recognize in an instant, in a singular moment, the majesty in the seemingly mundane, the power in the seemingly mundane. You understand? The magnitude of the minute. The magnitude of the minute. The purposefulness of everything that is, including you. The purposefulness in everything that is. You see? And so this card, I love this card so much. I love this card because it is the reminder that, one, it is the reminder that your mother gives a damn about your life. Your mother gives a damn about your life, or she would not have perfected the you that you are. You are perfect in your personification on this earth. Child, even if you're broken in the moment, even if you're flawed in the moment, even if you're a junkie in the moment, even if you have done wrongs and experienced failures, you are the perfect personification of the mother's divinely perfect process. She needed to experience life that only you could allow her to experience it through. You are her personification in this life that allows her to have a peculiar experience that she could only have if you existed. That's it. That's the only reason that you are here, is to participate in this process of hers that's always unfolding through the perspective and worldview and life experience that only you can create, that only you can contribute. Only you. Nobody before you, nobody after you, for forever. And that's like statistically, what is it? What's this guy's name? Neil. What's his name? Neil. What's that dude's name? The black scientist guy, Neil Tyson deGrasse. I think that's his name, Neil Tyson deGrasse. In one of his presentations, because he's a science guy nerd, and he's also like a scientific atheist, right? But he says, he was just talking about the importance of human beings, right? Like, he didn't believe in, quote, randomness. Even though he's a science guy, he doesn't believe in randomness. He said something to the effect of, like, just considering the statistical possibilities of you existing as a human, one, as you are in this moment, two, having the parents that you had, coming from the bloodline that you came from, the likelihood of you being born as a human in this moment to your parents, to that bloodline, was like 1 in a trillion or something like that. 1 in a trillion or something like that. I don't remember the exact statistic. He was like, but those kind of statistical probabilities means that if the Earth is 4.5 billion years old and humans have been on the planet in some variety or another for 1.5 million years, that you are a statistical miracle. You just by virtue of being born are a statistical miracle. That nobody like you, nobody will ever exist like you, nobody has ever existed like you. That's a statistical miracle. It's not randomness, right? I love that. That even a science guy can recognize the magic of this process that can only happen on our earth in this way, that can only happen with your parents who meet. You understand what I'm saying? And so to have a philosophy just like this, that's the only philosophy that you accept. That your presence on earth is such an intimate and necessary part of a global tapestry, not only a global tapestry, a universal tapestry that would be forever changed if you, as that thread, did not exist as you exist in this moment, that you are that necessary. You understand what I'm saying? That's car, the snakes, the crawlers, the totem of the stones. Everything is as it is supposed to be. And then we, as conscious creators of the future, well, let me say, we as conscious or unconscious creators of the future, because regardless of whether we're consciously creating or unconsciously creating, that our life is contributing to a future all the time, every day, all the time, every day. What we're engaged in, no matter what that is creating a definitive and certain future. Now, once you know that and accept that, the majesty and the seemingly mundane, right? The majesty of the minute and minuscule. This emboldens you. It should. This empowers you. It should. This gives you a confidence that others will mistake for arrogance. That's okay. That's okay. Like now you can walk up with your chest out for a reason. Now you can walk around the world with your chin up for a reason. Like, bitch, yeah, I'm out here creating this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here making things happen with minimal effort. I am creating every moment. I'm creating every moment. And in order to do that as a conscious person, doesn't really require great, giant declarations. It doesn't. That's the other side of this card. Seeing, because it says the crawlers are both the humble and the great. Minor movements and recognizing that every minor movement, I am impacting the future. Every minor movement, I am changing someone's life, whether I'm aware of that or not. Somebody is going to be changed as a consequence of meeting me, of passing me on the street. I am always creating. I'm always creating. And sometimes the creative process doesn't require giant ass displays or giant ass declarations. Sometimes it could be your ass looking like a motherfucking vagabond, decided you need to go walk up on Hollywood Boulevard to get your blood moving, and for some reason people are stopping you on the street like, oh my God, you look amazing. Who are you? Where are you from? Something. What's up with your walk? Like, I like your swag. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? To stop someone in their tracks, for them to see in you that which you have not even analyzed for yourself, at least not in that moment, to recognize that even the most minute thing can change your perspective on the whole day, can change the perspective of someone else that comes into contact with you, regardless of the circumstances, like your ass digging in the motherfucking trash at 2:00 in the morning and the nigga still coming on to you while your ass is digging in the trash. Okay, whatever, right? To be able to recognize to this reading, to be able to say like, damn, I pulled 3 cards. How do I? Oh, 3 cards at the garbage can at 2:00 in the morning. And I'm always telling spirit, like, talk to me like I'm 3, make it loud and clear and undeniable. Because otherwise, child, it may take me longer than it should. It may take me longer than it should for me to get the message. Make it plain. You understand? Simplest, easiest, most direct route to what it is you're trying to communicate to me. Because there's a lot of noise out here. Make it plain. Keep it simple. You feel me? Show up and show the fuck out. That's all. And when I tell you, spirit, the mother, be coming through and showing the fuck out in a way that is simple and easy to understand. Okay? The full card is kind of going back to that. The full card, she look carefree. She ain't in no giant ass like what you call it? She ain't in a field. You know what I'm saying? Like she ain't an agriculturalist. You feel me? She ain't out there, you know, toiling the soil and turning the soil and making these perfect straight lines and methodically dropping one seed, 5 inches, 10 inches away from each other to make sure that when the tree it grow just right. And she ain't methodically going through and doing the weeding and doing the watering and making sure it's the perfect time. She ain't doing none of that. She's like, look, all I got to do is peep the terrain. Are the conditions right to guarantee the outcome? Are the conditions right to guarantee the outcome? Okay, she's looking up. She's like, yeah, okay, the sun is booming. There's plenty of water. I'm out here with my bare feet, just casting seeds to and fro. And by virtue of understanding my surroundings, by virtue of understanding the science of the process, by virtue of understanding that at least one of these seeds, I ain't even got to be methodical. I can cast these seeds to and fro as I'm playing. She playing. She got her head back, her hair blowing in the wind. She barefoot in a cute little dress. She just throwing seeds left and right, here and there, and to and fro. And she says, by virtue of having a confidence in the process, all I have to do is make sure that the conditions are correct. And one of these seeds going to take root. And when one of these seeds take root and grow the fuck up out the ground, we all going to eat. Do all the seeds have to take root? Do I have to be methodical and purpose? Is the earthworm methodical and purposeful as he is creating soil? Minimal effort. Just the guarantee that the process is perfect, bitch. That's it. The process is perfect. And so she's like, doo-dee-doo, woo, 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 woo. And she knows that this is not a waste of time. Because even the most seemingly small action that she is engaged in this perfect, harmonious relationship with her environment, with the earth, with her surroundings, she don't have to be a scientist to know that what she is doing is going to produce a certain and a definitive outcome. She is confident in this picture. All I got to do is do what I do. Toss some seeds, come back. There's going to be some fruit falling off this tree in a half a second. I'm certain of it. The snakes, the crawlers, they don't care about human beings' opinions of them. They do what they do because the process is perfect. They know they role in the process. They continue to do exactly what it is they're supposed to do, regardless of our intervention or attempts at intervention in their process. The process is perfect, minimal effort. They do what they do. Here, she says, as humans, because we a little brainy, we be a little cerebral. So if you need to be cerebral, you feel me? Make sure your foundation is sturdy. Make sure your foundation is strong. Make sure that you have at least the very bare necessary essentials to guarantee that this is going to free you up creatively, free your mind from stress. You feel me? Thank you, Karen Cotton, no degree. You feel me? To ensure that your life will be a life of fulfillment, of joy and pleasure. Because that's what we're here for. Contrary to popular belief, when we talk about purpose and destiny and all of that shit, purpose and destiny and the fulfillment of what it is we came here to do. What you want me to tell you what that is? Everybody's purpose. That may look different for everybody, but everybody has the same purpose. Everybody on earth has the same purpose. Everybody on earth has the same destiny. Sure do. Sure do. You want to know what that is? It is to live the best possible version of life on this earth that earth allows and affords for us to live. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. We can complicate it if we want to, but that's it. That's it. That's it. That's everybody's purpose. That's everybody's destiny, is to be the actual living, walking embodiment of an ecstatic life. Of a life defined by pleasure and ecstasy and happiness and playfulness and love, unbridled and unbound. That's it. That may demonstrate itself in 8 billion different ways, but that's the only reason that we are here, is the mother in this relationship with herself. This is her body in this relationship with herself. Us having the most fortunate opportunity to be the embodiment of her desires fulfilled in the material world, blessing us with the opportunity to be born in the Garden of Eden, because the whole planet is the Garden of Eden. It's not a mythical, make-believe, magical place. The whole planet is the Garden of Eden. That's why all of these mythologies around the world are governed by this energy of this archetype that's based on our relationship with the planet Venus. Venus, Inanna, Taurus, Alat, Oshun, Aphrodite, whatever manifestation is peculiar to where you are on Earth. The reason that they are all the same, the reason the story is all the same, the reason she's always pictured as busty and, you know, and sexy and maternal. This Hathor, thank you so much. Sexy and, you know, sometimes, most times topless. Or if you in Anna, you got about 50 titties, you feel me? Or you got a big old ass, or you got a big old belly. Whatever the manifestation of her is, it is always to remind you of the abundance and the pleasure inherent in your fleshly experience. The abundance and of pleasure and ecstasy, unlimited, embodied in your flesh, that you are always supposed to be taking advantage of. Always. That's the relationship with your mother. That's what your mother, whether she's conscious of it or not, is attempting to teach you in those first 2 years that you are born. Is that our bodies are to be experienced in pleasure and in trust and in ecstasy and happiness and laughing, and to be completely to be able to be completely unconscious of the concept of safety, because safety is a guarantee. This is this card here. This is this card, basic survival. If you're talking about survival, basic survival, what does that inherently mean? So that, quote, the safety, survival, the safety that you need, the foundation that you need to ensure that you can move up into those higher chakras, right? Those higher chakras being creativity and spiritual enlightenment and all of those things. People be trying to bypass the foundation to, quote, ascend. It's about ascension. It's about ascending to the 5D, but you completely ignore the requirement of checking in with those foundational needs. Those are a necessity. You can't bypass that shit. Those are a necessity to ensure that you easily and freely can check into those higher chakras, those chakras that come above the heart. That quote, heaven on earth. That's what you're trying to accomplish. And everybody got a narrative that says everything but that. What we are trying to experience, what human beings are sick for, what people are longing for, what people are desperate for, what people are depressed because of, is everybody is trying to accomplish the same thing, whether they know it or not, whether they can articulate it or not. Everybody is trying to accomplish heaven on earth because it has been denied them. It has been denied them. All of these bullshitting ass articulations that are taking up a lot of space these days about archons and about earth being a prison created by the archons to hold human spirituality hostage or whatever. Child, these is lies straight out of hell. I don't care what nobody talk about. These are lies straight out of hell. Straight out of your mythological hell, bitch. You understand? That the whole thing is that your flesh is a prison that houses your spirit, and your spirit has to ascend. This shit is the most sinister sleight of hands narrative I've ever heard. Anything that talks like that, anything that talks about, quote, your shadow side being evil. What is it y'all call that shit? The dark night of the soul. What else y'all be talking about? Doing your deep, dark shadow work. What else y'all be talking about? They living in their lower nature. They're living in their lower nature. I reject all that shit. You better get good and well acquainted with your lower nature. You better get good and acquainted. Not only good and acquainted, you better embrace your lower nature. You better hug your lower nature. You understand what I'm saying? You better jump both feet first into your lower nature. As a matter of fact, do the same thing with your shadow. Embrace your shadow. Love your shadow. Big up your shadow. Give your shadow its very well overdue time in the spotlight. The only reason your shadow is attempt in your mind, what you think your shadow was attempting to sabotage you, your life and shit. You feel me? That if you don't, do the shadow work, then your shadow will sabotage your life because of repetition of patterns. I'm telling you, you've been duped. You've been duped. You've been duped. And I'm gonna attempt to prove it one of these days when I can narrow my study range. But I am going to tell you stories that you can't reconcile. That I'm going to tell you stories in the days to come and in the weeks to come, because I don't care what nobody's talking about, whether in the scientific world, whether in the quote philosophical world, in the spiritual world, in the political world. You know what I'm saying? In the different variances of sciences, I don't care what nobody's talking about. If at any juncture in these philosophies, I experience what is some sleight of hand, slick talker ass narrative to take you right back to the beginning, which is the hatred of the mother and the myriad of ways people be trying to win you back into the embrace of a patriarchal malignancy. I'm calling that shit out. When I tell you I'm calling that shit out, and I got a list. I got a list, because I don't even have to know their life to know that's the shit that they was on. But now I'm trying to get to know their life. Joseph Campbell, I got an episode already in mind just for his ass. Carl Jung, I got an episode in mind just for his ass. Sigmund Freud, I got an episode already in the Rolodex of my mind for his ass. Albert Einstein, I got an episode for his ass. Who else? What's that nigga name? Aristotle, I got an episode for him. Socrates, I got an episode for him. Hold on. Who else? Shakespeare, ooh, I got an episode for him. Who else? Because what y'all want to do? Ooh, what's that nigga name? Sims, the serial killer. The serial killer made a doctor so he could get his rocks off legally under the guise of scientific research. I got one for him, because y'all gonna have to get out of this. Y'all gonna have to get out of this narrative where you attempt to leap over, justify, reconcile the fact that so many of these males that you give accolades for, because, well, at least they gave us these great ideas. At least these was their great contributions, even though they were diabolical, monstrous motherfuckers. You can somehow reconcile they ideas. They wrote some great books. They came up with some, quote, great philosophies. 99.9% of the time, they stole them motherfucking philosophies from some person of color, some oppressed woman, somebody somewhere, then turned that shit upside down, inverted it, turned that shit inside out, put their own parasitic, narcissistic, goddamn patriarchal spin on the shit, give it back to you, and then because ain't nothing else in the world in a position to challenge it because their voices have been completely eradicated, you're like, oh my God, this is genius. This is genius. I'm just trying to give y'all a word. I'm just trying, and it ain't just white folks that's gonna get it, because I got a whole bunch of melanated people on the list too. On the list too. On the list too. We gonna have to stop. We gonna have, when I'm telling you, baby, I be up in here subdued. Because the more I know, the more I am certain beyond any question that when I say that we have to write and rewrite everything, we have to name and rename everything, we literally have to transform all of human history. We have to completely scrap the history books and rewrite the actual history books. We say it all the time without understanding what it means, right? To the victor goes the spoils, right? What's the other one? The victor tells the tale. The victor writes the history. What did Napoleon say? History is a set of agreed upon lies. Isn't that what he said? They tell you in your face. History is an agreed upon set of lies. At least when we tell the tale, men. At least when we tell the tale, white men. At least when we tell the tale, aristocrats. At least when we tell the tale, nobility. At least when we tell the tale, monks, priests, this and this and this and this. They tell you in your face. If you want this shit to represent you, bitch, you're gonna have to retell the tale, because we lied all the way. We lied all the way up and down, all the way through and through. We lied. Everything you think you know, bitch, assume we lied. Do they not tell you that shit? Everything you ever learned, assumed we lied. How am what I'm saying the truth? Because you watching it happen in real time. That's why these crackers out here burning books. That's the reason they've always burnt books. Totalitarians, dictate. That's the first order of business, is to burn up the books, burn up the records, disappear. Isn't that what they're saying? That's happening on the internet. How Trump making sure you can't get on, like the CDC and the NHI and the all these other websites where you can get information about all the dirt being done by, like, the Food and Drug Association or Administration and the pharmaceutical industry. They disappearing all the information on the government websites to make sure you don't have access to the history of the diabolical crimes committed by these institutions. You feel me? That's why they talking about, they so mad about, why would white people be mad about critical race theory? About quote, telling the truth. Here you are, Christians. Here you are, Christian fanatics, and you got an attitude about people telling the truth. Like, where they do that at? You ain't. Is the truth really what you mad about? No, they don't want the truth told. They want a truth told that exonerates them. They want a truth told that absolves them. They want a truth told so that there are no debts that they are obliged to pay. Because if your ass don't remember the past, after they have eradicated the past, then it means we free and clear. There ain't no debts that we must pay. There's no rectification we must be held accountable to. There's no process through which balance and harmony can be restored, because we made sure everybody forgot. Isn't that what they're doing in real time? And the question you have to ask yourself is, instead of complaining about what they're doing in real time, how do we get the jump on these bitches? Because y'all wanna lament and woe and whine and shit about the terms that they have set, like your ass ain't got power. That's why this card. Your ass want to lament and woe and yell and scream and holler about, oh my God, what they doing, why they doing this, as if this is anything different than any other period of time we've been up in America. That's why y'all ass be every day surprised and bewildered. How I didn't know this happened in America. How I didn't know this. Because they didn't want you to know this. They didn't want you to remember this shit. All your grandpappies them, your grandmama them, your granddaddy them, they all dead, so they can't transfer the information to you. And every day they telling you this terrible thing happened in America. Can you believe it? And the question is, you be saying, I don't believe this happened in America. Why you can even say that? Why can you even continue to say, I can't believe this happening in America? Is because you do not have a thorough history of the history of America. Because so much has been erased, so much has been deliberately hidden, so much has been wiped out, and you have been presented with a version of America that everything is great now. And look at how far we've come, because look at how bad it used to be. Not that it has been consistently and increasingly and unendingly fucking bad. You don't have a memory, because in your mind, whatever you see through this screen right here is the truth. And your conviction that this is the truth, whatever you see up on the screen here, does not match your daily lived experience at all. And so your ass is walking around here with split personalities disorder. Your ass is walking around here literally schizophrenic. literally schizophrenic, because what you believe does not match what you see in the world at all. And so you perpetually surprised. You perpetually surprised. That should be blowing my mind. Every time I hear a person, period, but especially a person of color, say some shit like, I can't believe this is happening in 2025 in America. When I tell you, it's a spell. Even saying them exact words, it's like a mantra. That's your default programming. What do you mean you cannot believe this is happening in 2025 in the United States of America? What is the basis for a declaration like that? What's the basis for a statement like that? Like, what's the justification for a statement like that? Why you say that? Why you say that? Why do you say I cannot believe anything that's happening in this here country right now? Why do you say that? Anything after you say I cannot believe, and it has something to do with the United States of America, why do you say that? Why do you say that? Why can't you believe it? Why can't you believe anything? Y'all will literally read about all the secret testing, King Code Alpha Plan, and MK Ultra, and all of these terrible, diabolical, monstrous, maniacal, luniacal, insane to the millionth degree, incomprehensible to a regular ass person, things that this monstrous motherfucker done did in your face in real time, and you can still have the nerve to say, I cannot believe ... Whenever I hear some black person, especially black people, whenever I hear some black person say, whenever I hear, especially people who in office right now, seeing these black people in office and hear some of the shit that be coming out they grill, just X out certain shit, yo. Just X out certain shit. Cause like, why you say that? You feel me? To be hearing, intelligent, obviously, college educated, smart Negroes and Negresses. You feel very articulate Negroes and Negresses in positions of power up inside your government that they believe in so much. Say, on one side of the map, talk about racism, talk about demographics, talk about all this stuff that they can recognize are these aggressions that are peculiar to people of color, that are peculiar to marginalized people, that are peculiar to the experiences of black people in this country. And at the same side of the map, talk about, but this is the greatest country in the world. Huh? Wait, run that back. Run that back. What you just say? Wait a minute. So you just talk about the myriad of ways your constituents is used up, ground up, spit the fuck up, spit out. Right? You just said that you ran down all the statistics in the same speech. You just ran down all the ways that suffering people is ground the fuck up in this bitch right here. And then the way you round out this whole statistical layout of oppression, and before you state your conclusion, you say, well, since the United States of America is the greatest country on earth, then this and that and this and that and such and such. Huh? Wait a minute. Even the white people don't say that. Even the white people do not say America's the greatest country on earth. So don't. Remember that episode where this girl gets up and is like, America is the greatest. Can you tell us, Professor so-and-so, why America is the greatest country on earth? He was like, I can't do no shit like that. This is a white professor. He said, I can't do no shit like that. He said, what's the basis? What's the basis of you making a statement like that? He said, I get it. You're a baby. You only 22 years old, so you don't know shit yet. So let me just clear it up for you. Your ass can make a statement like America is the greatest country on earth, and I tell you that it's not, and y'all all gasp, right? He said, let me tell you why America is not the greatest country on earth. He said, and then he started running down the other, quote, 52 developed countries, all the countries above the United States of America that have better educational systems, and how America is like 50 like number 49th in the world for education. You know, all these terrible statistics is number 48 in healthcare, but it's number 3 in healthcare spending. Though the health outcome does not justify the amount of spending on health, quote, medical care, right? So you got, quote, the third greatest debt of medical care in the world, but your ass ranked number 48 in the world for medical outcome insecurity. How that work? You feel me? He started talking about, like, damn, the 3 biggest killers in this country are medical crises, right? Heart disease being number 1, cancer being number 2, diabetes and its complications being number 3. They kill over 2 million people a year. Those 3 conditions in by. Like, what the fuck you mean America's the greatest country? America, you think America got free speech? Here are all the countries in the world that have better free speech than the United States of America. What else you be talking about? Land of the free and the home of the brave? These countries here, people are more free than we are in the United States of America. So what the fuck is you talking about? He said, because I don't know what the fuck you mean. This is a professor in a room full, in a stadium full of people. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about when you say that shit. But I'm black and I'm loud. So when I say it, I'm just being an asshole. And because I talk with colloquialism, because I talk with seasoning on my language, that in your mind, what I say cannot possibly be intelligent or well thought out. It cannot be based on an intellectual pursuit of information that justifies and backs what it is I'm attempting to communicate. That the loudness of my voice, the rashness of my voice, right? The harshness of how I speak, the crinkle in my eyebrow when I am passionate, that's always reduced to the wildness and the madness of just an angry black bitch. You feel me? Allows you the opportunity to dig your heels in about what you have assumed is the inherent intellectual weaknesses of those who do not look like you, who do not come from your peculiar upbringing. Child, so I had this thought today because I told y'all I am plotting on something extremely big. I am plotting. Not only is it saying it in right now, I'm like, I can feel my body tensing up, but I can also feel at the same time this necessity for this plot that I am plotting. It's big, the plot that I am plotting. And it's coming quick, this plot that I am plotting, this scheme that I am scheming. It ain't even Claudia Ankara ain't even nothing that I'm gonna be able to facilitate via Zoom. It's like that. So that's why I was telling you, if you are interested in finding out the plot, the scheme, the plan, then you're gonna have to send me an email and put the plot, put in the search engine, in the header, the plot, and then you're gonna have to give me your snail mail. I'm telling you, it's like that. You're gonna have to give me your snail mail so I can put something in the mail to you describing the plot and what is going to be necessary to execute the plot, the plan of action for the execution of the plot. It's that big. It's that deep. It's that big. It's that deep. And I've been thinking about it every day since I made the decision, since I said to myself, okay, am I crazy for considering this? What are the ramifications of considering this? How is this going to impact what I am building with the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence? Like, what are the pros and cons of the pursuit of this plot? You feel me? It's like that. Like, when I tell you what I am going to tell you, you are going to be like, no fucking way. That ain't no fucking way. No fucking way. This is the plot. No, it is a decision that I've only made over the last 3 weeks. It came from out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, not even fathomable, not even within the realm of my regular ass thought processes. It literally came from out of nowhere, a circumstance that I knew at the moment was a divine intervention. I knew it the moment that it happened. I was like, oh, fuck. Damn. And every single day since then, when was it? It was on the last new moon. That's exactly what happened, because there's another new moon. It was on the last new moon. That Capricorn, what was it? No, it wasn't a Capricorn new moon. The Capricorn, it was the last new moon. It wasn't this past full moon. It was the last new moon. When this thing happened, because I was at a new moon event when this intervention happened, and I was like, oh shit, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? So it's like that. Like when I tell you it's so like that I am going, I know it's going to seem crazy. I'm going to be sending you handwritten letters. I'm not even going to type the shit on my computer. I'm going to be sending y'all. If y'all are interested in the plot, do not send me no shit. Do not send me your snail mail address if you ain't interested in the plot. You say you interested in the plot, but you just want to know what the plot is because your curiosity is eating at your ass. Don't send me no shit. Anybody interested in the plot, you better expect that you're going to get a follow-up letter telling you what what your role is in the plot. I mean that shit. I'm when I tell you deadly serious. Deadly serious. Don't be just trying to scratch your little curiosity itch. That ain't the shit I'm interested in. If I take the time to handwrite you a letter of what I'm plotting and scheming, your ass better be ready to receive an assignment. And I mean that shit. Because this shit is it's got a timeline attached to it, and the timeline is quickly approaching. So do not waste my time. Is what I'm telling you. Do not waste my time. My stir is not acting right. Don't waste my time. I'm typing the email address for the temple in the comment section for those of you who have asked. I mean that shit. And I don't care where you are. You can be anywhere on Earth, is what I'm saying. You can be anywhere on the planet and be able to participate in this plot. But do not have me take my time to communicate to you what I am plotting and scheming on if you are not interested or willing in participating in this project that I am embarking upon. Don't waste my time, because I'm going to have an attitude. I know I'm being all what do you call it? Shit. I know I'm being all mysterious and mystical and shit. And y'all know I ain't really into mystery. Y'all know I ain't really into what you call it? Damn. I ain't really into hidden, mysterious. You know what I'm saying? I say keep everything up front and out. What did I say? Mysteries are created, to exploit power dynamics. And that ain't no shit I'm really interested in. Mystery and secretism is important for this particular project, because there is a timeline on this project. There is a necessity to be discreet, at least in the early stages of this project. Okay, there is a need to be discreet in the early stages of this project, because there is going to be a period where it's going to be widely exposed, if you will, this project. But in the beginning stages, discretion is required. Extreme discretion is required. And so the other thing is, I'm gonna tell you this, just because I know how the world is. I know how the world is. And so I'm going to be reading. I'm going to be casting for everybody that expresses interest in receiving the project, the plan of action. I'm going to be reading each person who sends me their shit. And if the reading does not come, if the casting doesn't come down favorable for you to receive what it is I'm attempting to communicate in this way, I'm sorry, you won't be getting it either. Because the police is real, the state is real, what you call it? What you call them people? Snitches, agents, that shit is real. And so the only thing that I have at my discretion, without asking each and every one of you for your resume, for your background, for your family history, who your people name is, your blood, like without me doing an investigation about who you really is, what I can rely on that will not require as much time is to cast on your name, is to read your name, to figure out who you are. And if the throw goes down and it's not favorable, if Spirit say no, don't send them that shit. If Spirit say don't send them that shit when I do the throw, I'm not gonna be sending you the shit. I'm sorry. You can go to Spirit about it. You can go to the mother about it. Why you ain't let her send me the shit? Like, why can't I be a part of the project? And so that's all I got, because I'm not gonna be reading through no resumes. You feel me? I ain't gonna be asking who your people near me is. I could do that, but I'm not. That ain't what I'm trying to do. You feel me? And so, given that this is the medium, even though I love each and every one of you who support my channel, I don't know y'all. You feel me? I trust that the mother has allowed for you to cross my path for a reason, and that is purposeful. But I also have been a political activist long enough to know that the state is real and perpetually looking for a way to sabotage people's shit. And so that's what I will be doing. So if you do not receive something from me, maybe you need to do a clearing. Maybe you need to do an energy clearing. Maybe you need to do a meditation. You feel me? And then send me another email saying, will you reconsider because I've done X, Y, and Z? And then I will cast your name again. But that's what it's got to be in the earlier stages. But I'm plotting on something so extraordinary and so on time. And the implications are really radical. So the other thing that it's going to require is it's going to require a lot. But I am still convinced that just because it's going to require a lot is not synonymous with the need to do heavily laborious shit. That's the break that we're trying to make. Like, that's the leap that we're trying to make. That's what everything that we've been doing has been communicating. Everything, every time you turn around is like, do less, right? I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Let me tell you what happened today. I saw this TikTok from this sister who is talk about confirmations, talk about ancestors showing up and showing out, and like, bitch, yes, it's us. It's us that you're experiencing in this very moment. Yes, it's us. Confirmation. I saw this TikTok today. I think I shared it on my Facebook channel. And it was a nurse, an RN, who was off. She was like, have y'all seen what this administration is trying to do? Check your hospital bulletin boards, whatever. But this administration, under the guise of doing some kind of research or, quote, offering nurses the opportunity to participate in this new research, are asking nurses to show up to, quote, pick blueberries in these selected regions for free, quote, for this to be a part of this study that they're conducting. I said, wait, what? She goes into detail. And first of all, it sounded like absolute sheer lunacy. And in that instant, I was like, oh my God. I told y'all for the last year and a half, easily 85% of the people calling me for readings are RNs. So much so that every single time a person reaches out to me and says, I need a reading, and I ask, what is your occupation? And they say a nurse, I just start laughing, because I'm like, that tracks. I keep saying, I don't know why all of these nurses are calling me. I don't know why literally 85%, and I'm probably being liberal, 85% of the people in the last year and a half that have called me to get readings are RNs, specifically RNs, not just, quote, healers, because there are a lot of healers. I'm talking about specifically RNs. I'm like, what the fuck is happening, right? Today, because every single solitary RN that has called me in the last year and a half, I'm like, you want to know what my position is? Before I even throw a card, quit your job. I ain't talking about being reckless. I'm talking about if it is not something that you were genuinely, passionately seeking to do, instead of, oh, this is a way for me to make some great money, whatever. But if you are not passionate about what it is you are doing, especially as a healer, quit your fucking job. I tell y'all all the time, I'm actively trying to transition at least out of that type of my work, where now my brain is the thing that I am focusing on to make me the money that I need. The things that I am passionate about, making me the money that I need. I am passionate about teaching. I have always been passionate about teaching. And so how can I transition from this quote hands-on aspect of healing work in a way that can simultaneously empower people, make me the money that I damn well deserve times a million? And so that's what I'm on, is actively transitioning, because this is not my passion. Putting my hands on people, I love what I do. I love the ability that I have, but I am not passionate about that area of work anymore. How to transition into those things that I was always inherently passionate about: art, about creativity, about expressing and teaching. I love to teach, right? And so I tell them all the time, I ain't telling you no shit that I'm not actively engaged in, with the recognition that Black women in particular have been romanced into taking jobs under the guise of, quote, making a good living, that have us right back squarely in these fucking parasitic relationships with the white world, where every job we take is a job of service. And in those places of service, we are always servicing white people. Predominantly, if we're working in a nursing home, we're predominantly servicing white people. If we're working in a hospital, we're predominantly servicing white people. All of these jobs of service, in their attempt to get us back into a position of proximity where we are spending all of our goddamn vital essence and energy taking care of, nurturing, supporting them. You understand what I'm saying? And so I was like, that's the greatest dupe of the time. Is okay, they ain't just straight coming to be our maids no more. They ain't just straight coming to be our child care, our the people who take care of our babies no more. Now how can we, because we can't use brute force no more, how can we finesse these bitches back into positions of servitude for us? Yeah, we might have to pay them a little more, but we ain't gonna do it. How do we get them back in a position where we can have their full and undivided attention the majority of the time that they're alive? I'm telling Black women, stop taking jobs of service. I don't care what the fucking job is. Stop taking jobs of service. Stop taking jobs of service. Stop taking jobs of service, right? And then I see this goddamn thing today, and she talking about they're going up on bulletin boards everywhere, talking about go work on the goddamn blueberry farm for a study. And she's like, I cannot believe this shit is real. This shit was on our bulletin board at the hospital. You understand? She's like, oh, not like you didn't just actively create the conditions, but now you trying to hoodwink. Who do you think is falling for the shit? She said, black women nowhere in this country ain't going out to no motherfucking fields that they don't own. They ain't going out to work for nobody in this way. They ain't doing it. So like, what is it that you playing at now? Are you gonna start like challenging women's ability to live? You gonna start trying to fire bitches because they ain't gonna go out to the blueberry field or whatever? Anyway, that shit was a confirmation, because for a year and a half I've been telling these Black women, get your ass out these hospitals, out the nursing homes, wherever it is you work, get up out of there. Get up out of there. Get up out of there. Find something else. Find a way to transition where your money is not messed up in the transition. Try to find a way to transition out of this thing that you hate doing anyway into something that fills you up every time you think about doing it, and see how that can make you money. You feel me? So anyway, I say, well, there you go. There you go. I know the two things don't seem related, but I was like, listen, they are getting desperate. And when they get desperate, we are always the collateral damage for their desperation, for their violence. We are always the collateral damage. Not only the collateral damage, the acceptable, forgettable collateral damage to their desperation. No, there ain't a white person yet, even these so-called white people who are progressives. There ain't a white person yet. I haven't heard a white person yet, even as they declare, we feel betrayed. You understand? We feel betrayed. The black people were right. We feel betrayed. Even if they have the nerve to say that. Even progressive white people who didn't vote for Trump. And somehow this gives them the authority to make whatever declarations that they made. I ain't heard a white person yet. Not one. Not one. Say, you know what? We collectively, because we all out here fucked up. But see, what happens is with the white world in particular, they still rely on this blanket that will always perpetually rescue them from accountability. Because that's what they want. They want absolution. When they attempt to appeal to black people by saying shit like, you know, I didn't vote for Trump. I voted the right way. That's what they tried to do with Obama. What white people are trying to do is create this massive collective blanket that provides them some semblance of absolution. They do. They do. And this absolution is this thing, you know, and they, you know, you see white progressive people who have all these articulations about the ways that black people in America have been harmed and all of these ways that, you know, Native people and Mexican people have been harmed, and will still have the audacity to see themselves somehow outside of the process that guaranteed the continuation of those institutions. They will. But I didn't do that, right? And in all this madness and in all this chaos and all the white people up on YouTube and TikTok crying tears because we didn't know. We feel betrayed by Trump. He lied to us, as if his line started the day y'all voted. Really? As if his line, this shit with Epstein, was not all over the TV a year before you voted. A year before you voted. Pictures of him and Epstein chumming it up. As if you didn't know from the first time y'all elected him that he started talking about grabbing pussies and, you know, and being sexually attracted to his 13-year-old daughter. And as if y'all didn't know that when y'all voted for his ass the first time. But you just perpetually duped. You poor white people are just perpetually the victims of duping. You always act like something that you voted for no other reason than white supremacy. In your mind, white supremacy, whether you was a black white supremacist, a Mexican white supremacist, a Cuban white supremacist, a female white supremacist, a goddamn Native American white supremacist, doesn't matter. That in the only single solitary way that you walked your ass up into the booths, awake, not drugs, awake, and voted for Donald J. Trump is because you are a white nationalist. You have a white nationalist sitting in your head at the operating board. Your ass is a white nationalist. And I don't care who you is. I don't care what color you is. Your ass is a white nationalist. And instead of being a grown-up and saying, but white nationalists, so-called, y'all think all white nationalists are Republicans. That's a discussion for another. Y'all really think all white nationalists are Republicans. That's a discussion for another day. But your ass walked up in there, did what you did, said what you said, sang songs about what you sang about. I will vote for Donald Trump, right? And then when your ass get caught up in the okie doke that he didn't even lie to you about, y'all saying he lied to you. What he lied to you about? I mean, I'm still trying to. What is the lies that y'all talking about that he told y'all? I'm curious because he never lied. He was outright in what he said. Y'all saying we voted because of his immigration policies, and he was threatening to get rid of only the bad guys. But he white and male and a billionaire. In his mind, who are the bad guys? Everybody that ain't him. Even his own 13-year-old daughter at the time. Everybody is the bad guy who ain't him. White, male, aristocratic, billionaire. Who you think the bad guys is? Who did you think they was? Who did you think they was? That you could justify what you did and then act like somehow you the victim and the okie doke was pulled on you. You crying crocodile tears about your farms. Bitch, you had 85% of the people working on your farms was the same people your ass voted to get shipped off out the country. Wow, what you mean you got lied to? He said, oh, Joe farm workers, I'm coming for them. He said that. Y'all was like, yeah, that sounds like a good ass idea. That sure do. All them criminals out there in the world. But who the criminals? Everybody that ain't him. Everybody that don't run in him. Epstein was not a criminal where Trump was concerned. He wasn't a criminal. Why? Because he was a billionaire. He was white. He was aristocratic. He wasn't the bad guy. He wasn't. He wasn't a bad guy. No. Everybody else is. Everybody else is. Everybody else is. And so it's interesting to me because we're sitting here in this period that I've been talking about for a very, 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 very long time. You feel me? About this period, Pluto and Aquarius. About this period, Uranus and Gemini. About this period, Saturn in Aries. About this period, Neptune in Aries. About this period. And this is the great leveler. This is the great harmonizer. And what harmonizes the world, a great number of people who have been on the benefiting end of this global disharmony, their lives are going to be extraordinarily uncomfortable. Because for the world to be harmonized means, bitch, you got to pay. For the world to be harmonized, bitch, you about to lose a lot. You about to lose a lot because a lot that you have, you acquired at someone else's expense. You about to lose a lot. It's about to be what we call harmony, and we think it's just all peace and love. Harmony and harmony and harmony and balance and what y'all call justice. A lot of you progressives out here talking about you want to see justice. Y'all ain't ready for what justice looks like. You were not. Because you can say justice out your mouth and still never acknowledge that you have been the direct beneficiary of injustice. That's a hard pill to swallow. And a lot of progressives' lives are going to be made uncomfortable because they have been aloof and dishonest. They've been really dishonest. They really think that just having good ideas in their head and every once in a while going and holding up a sign at a demonstration absolves them. They really do. Yeah. Those people who are like, I just run my family business and I'm trying to be a good person. Wow. What Sister Karen, who was it? Karen? Claudia Ankara. What Claudia Ankara say? Those same people have been systemically exploiting this same population. Systemically and perpetually exploiting this population that at the same time they just went into these voting booths and voted for their asses to be tossed out the country. You feel me? And I'm going to tell you, people do not want to hear what the answer is. It's been with me for a while, and this is the first time I'm saying it out loud. It's the first time I'm saying it out loud, but I've been sitting with it for a minute. There has to be, in this country, there has to be an outright strategic, heartfelt, deeply devoted ritual of rectification. There has to be a deep-seated, seriously convicted ritual of redemption, declarations of redemption by those who have been the perpetual beneficiaries of the government that they're now complaining about. This shit didn't start with Donald Trump. That too is dishonest. That's why I can't hear no white person talking about fascism. Y'all liars. It's dishonest as hell. not only is it dishonest as hell, it's exhausting and it's disgusting, and it's only when this shit is butt naked and outright and no longer deniable that you have the ability to make these grand declarations of how everything that's happening is against the law and against the Constitution, and this is a fascist regime. Shut the entire fuck up. That is not the issue. That is not the issue, because what your ass is experiencing, because now it's undeniable and it's in your face and it's disrupting your social media accounts and shit, that you now have to address. You must feel compelled to address. What you are experiencing now has been an unending, unebbing, uninterrupted experience for Black, brown, and red people and women up in this bitch. Unending. Why are you talking about fascism now, bitch? Why are you talking about fascism now? Huh? I don't get it. It only became fascist now because Trump is in the White House. That's what you talking about? Yeah, okay. All right, you got it with that. Everything, no matter how seemingly progressive it sounds, everything is an attempt at absolution. Everything that you hear these people say, I promise you, is an attempt to self-preserve and self-rescue without having to pay any debts, without even having to make any admissions for either conscious or unconscious participation in what exists right now today. Today is the culmination. It is the peak personification of something that has been unending since 1619. And y'all participate all the time. All the time. Every now and again, there will be one among you, predominantly white people, so-called progressives, there will be one among you that is so convicted by the travesty of what they see that they will be like, you know what? I stake my claims with the future. I stake my claims with the people. I stake my claims with the oppressed. And this ain't no shit I'm just saying out my mouth. So let me put up on my strap. Let me take my little resources and come up with a plan that I can participate in to at least levy a blow to this bitch if I can't dismantle it. One among you, every now and again, every once in a blue moon, y'all will be like, I need to prove that my behavior in the world is matched with what I say out my mouth about my solidarity, about where my unity lies, about what I'm willing to do. What I'm always quoting Che Guevara is the one quote that I love, even though I can reconcile that his ass was a monstrous, malignant, diabolical motherfucker. He was, and he was the man for a long time in my mind. You understand? Yeah, as a matter of fact, he might be on the list that I was talking about earlier. But one of the things that he did say was solidarity is not just a manner of quote well-wishing, but investing. What did he say? Solidarity is not a mere matter of well-wishing, but in the sharing of the fate of the oppressed, whether in victory or in death. That's what it means to be an ally. That's what it means to quote live in solidarity with. Now, he was a white aristocrat, medically trained aristocrat, Che Guevara. He said solidarity is not a matter of well-wishing. That shit you say out your mouth that ain't backed by shit. It's not a matter of well-wishing, but in the sharing of the fate of the oppressed, whether in victory or in death. That's the only solidarity that I believe. Don't mean that we can't be homies, we can't be chums, you feel me? We can't chum it up, we can't go to dinner with each other. It just means that if these are not the declarations that you are making that are backed by action, just don't tell me you're an ally. Tell me you're somebody nice in the moment that, I may be able to go to the movies with, or, you may be able to come into my house and have dinner. But we have to be making clear discernments, because the future is becoming this dystopian future that they've always planned for, where those people that you trusted the most, you feel me, your so-called friends, you see what friendship really is only in a crisis. While everything good and seemingly peaceful, you don't know who your real friends are. I'm sorry, you do not. You do not know who your real friends are until a collective crisis. Is this motherfucker gonna be the one that turns cannibal on your ass? Or are they really gonna be a ride or die? You feel me? And so it's important to say this because we don't have these conversations enough about what is being revealed by all of these, people, Trump lied to us and all of that bullshit. I'm sorry. And people shouldn't get to me. Y'all got debts to pay. And the debts to pay has to start with taking responsibility for where you gave your power in your mind, where you gave your power. What that means is, and what I was talking earlier about, like, I just feel like something radical has to happen. Like, you can't just be up on here lamenting and woe and talking about we should have listened to the black people. Okay, and then what? What follows that declaration? We should have listened to the black people. And then what? What else you got to say? Because in what you just said, you don't even have the nerve to say, oops, my bad. I haven't heard one white person say I voted wrong. I haven't even heard a white person yet say I want to say out loud, I voted wrong. Because you saying we should have listened to the black people is not enough. It's not enough. You crying tears, he lied to us. That you ain't taking responsibility. You ain't taking responsibility. We should have listened to the black people. You ain't taking responsibility. You ain't taking responsibility. You can't even do the absolute bare minimum, which is to be self-accountable, to be honest with yourself. With yourself. To be honest with yourself, to say, you know what? I want to take responsibility, because not offering no excuses. This shit with IG. What's up, Buzinski? I guess it ain't coming back on. This bullshit. Bullshit. I'm just gonna restart this IG. I'm not gonna be up on here much longer. Okay. All right. Sorry about that to those who are gonna be coming back up on IG. But anyway, what I'm talking about, y'all can't even do the bare minimum. Y'all cannot even do the bare minimum. The bare minimum is to say that if I am one who believes in what is being presented to me as a democratic process, I'm talking about the American vote, that if I genuinely believe in this process and that, quote, my vote counts, then I need to make a public statement. I need to make a declaration. I need to say that I want to take responsibility for the impact that my vote had on the people of America. I haven't heard one person say that. Not one, not nowhere. Now, I'm saying this the way that I say this, as one who believes in what has been put forward as the democratic process that allows us as voters with our power to impact the democratic process. Still believing this, I want to take personal responsibility for what my vote has contributed to creating. I want to take personal responsibility for the outcome of my vote. I want to hold myself accountable for the impact my vote had on the whole. That's just the starting point of taking responsibility, of holding oneself accountable. Now, I said it the way that I said it for a reason, because still that declaration is about your belief about the process that has been put forward to you as the democratic process and the power supposedly that is inherent in your ability to vote. That quote, your vote counts. The reason I'm saying it that way is because I do not vote. I have never voted in a presidential election. So I can make the declaration that I make and have throughout the entire process over the last year of preparing for the country to quote come together to cast their vote. I've been making that declaration all along that I, as a tax-paying citizen of the United States of America, can have a right to make this declaration of my right to declare and say out loud that because I, as a United States citizen, do not have faith, do not believe in what has been put forward as the democratic process and the idea that it affords me the ability to exercise my personal power and my individual vote to impact the United States of America and the whole that represents the United States of America. I know, not believe, I know that first, this process does not work, and I study history to always affirm me of that. Always. But for those of you who still believe in the process, it's not a judgment. For those of you who still believe in the process, who still believe that your individual vote matters in terms of your ability to, quote, take your power and exercise change in the whole population based on how you vote, then at some juncture, not only Republicans, at some juncture, all of you who actively participate in what you believe is a democratic process has to take responsibility for the way this country looks. Every vote yields an outcome because it's still an energy. It's still an energy expression. Everybody has to take responsibility for the way this bitch looks. Not only that, because my belief is what it is. I still don't believe your vote matters. It don't mean a motherfucking thing. It don't count towards shit. Don't mean shit. It is just it's a statistical mechanism to monitor your belief and participation in the system. That's all it is. But even though that's my belief, doesn't mean that ain't y'all belief. Y'all belief is y'all intention. And if you go and vote, for example, for Obama, both times, you want to be able to pop your collar about voting for Obama because of this, and this, and this, and he did this good, he did this good, he did this good, he did this good, but you want to be able to distance yourself from the diabolical shit he did. Don't work that way. You want to be able, isn't this what I was just saying about all these monstrous motherfuckers? Right? They was genius. They wrote this book. They came up with this idea. They came up with this philosophy. Oh, they the father of gynecology and all of this and this and this. So it makes it real easy and convenient for you to just kind of leap over all the terrible, monstrous, diabolical, pure evil ass shit they did to, quote, get to this point. Now all of this shit in your mind becomes justified. That's the only way you can do that. Justify all of this shit they did becomes justified in the pursuit of genius. All of this shit becomes justified. I just said that about all these dudes an hour ago. But you do the same thing with your so-called beloved elected officials. You want to take, you want to pop your collar. You want to get a little sticker and shit because you voted for this person. But then when they turn around and do some monstrous shit, some malignant shit, participate in some diabolical shit, you want to distance yourself from that. You don't want to take personal responsibility. You don't want to say, I voted for them. You don't want to say that. You don't want to say, don't nobody need to know who I voted for. I'm going to take personal responsibility and I'm going to hold myself accountable because I went out there and voted for Trump, and why I voted for him doesn't matter, because what you are attempting to do is to avoid blame. That's what you're attempting to do. But he lied to us. I ain't know better. I didn't know this. And you lying, first of all. But even if you do believe what you're saying out your mouth, your ass is attempting to avoid blame. That's not accountability. That's not responsibility. Your ass is attempting to say, I did it, but this why I did it. You lying, first of all. But also, you don't want to be held accountable. You don't want to be held accountable. You feel me? To make the declaration, this is what it means. This is what my belief is. I believe in the system. I believe in America. I believe this shit's supposed to work. And if I believe that, and I say that I believe that, and I'm honest about my belief, then it also means that me as a voter, knowing that my vote has power, I want to take personal responsibility for how my vote has impacted the lives of human beings in this country. We don't need to know the reason that you voted. We don't need to know that you feel like a victim or that you feel like you was bamboozled. We don't need to know none of that. We don't need to know the why you voted the way that you did. To be, quote, a responsible human being that in your mind believes that your vote does levy you some power, that the way that you voted is having not on. He ain't even wait no time, bitch. He ain't even wait no time. Y'all voted for him, and 2 months later, he taking a wrecking ball to everything you love about America. He literally taking a whole ass wrecking ball to everything you love about America. And y'all on the motherfucking social media crying and lamenting and woeing and shit without one of you. Thousands and thousands and thousands of videos. We should listen to the black people. Shut up. What we gonna do now? Trump lied to us. Shut up. I ain't trying to hear nothing else coming out of anybody's mouth that does not precede the words. This video is for me as an American voter, recognizing that my vote has power, not just blind power, the power to change someone else's life. I want to make this declaration that I voted for Trump, and I want to take personal responsibility for the impact of my vote on the lives of innocent human beings in this country. That's all I want to hear coming from y'all. If it ain't that, I don't want to hear shit about you feeling bad, or oh my feelings, or your crocodile tears, or none of that bullshit, because y'all all lying, and all that you are all attempting to do is to avoid blame and personal accountability, and to make people stop treating y'all like y'all some kind of bad guys. You're villains is what you are. You're villains looking to shirk responsibility. That's what you are. You are the bad guys. You are the bad guys. You are the villains. This is your doing. And even as I do not believe that you do not have power in that vote, I accept that this is a monitoring tool, the vote. I believe it is a monitoring tool, always monitoring the collective faith or lack of faith in this bullshit presented to you as democratic. That's what I believe it is. But what the vote actually does do is to communicate something to the group based on the statistics. The majority of the group is white nationalists. The majority of the group hate colored folk. The majority of the group believe women aren't entitled to any rights, including to their own uterus, whatever. So it's still communicating something to us that informs us of how we have to move throughout this bitch. You feel me? So I think the vote is very constructive for me as one who has never voted in a presidential election. Never. Now, I participate in local electoral politics, but to go and participate in that madness, in that farce that y'all swear is democratic, lunacy. There's nothing short of that's my personal opinion. And I ain't calling y'all lunatics. I'm calling the process monstrous is what it is. But it does communicate something. And those statistics And that communication tells me enough that the bare minimum, for those of you crying crocodile tears and trying to elicit some sympathy, like your ass is the fucking victim, like it's not the lives of human beings being disrupted in the most incredibly brutal and gruesome way that are the victims. Your ass the victims and you the bad guy. You feel me? All you feel like you got to do is cry a tear, and you are absolved. Because, oh, poor thing, they didn't know, they made a mistake. No, he has been butt naked and outright in his aggressions since the first time y'all put his ass in office. Huh? Yeah. So that's all I'm interested in here. Not only that, once you take personal responsibility, once you hold yourself accountable, and I don't foresee that being I don't foresee that being something that will happen. Trump voters, not just Trump voters, so-called white progressives who are always trying to shirk their participation in the upholding of the system. They do. And without people saying, I want to take personal responsibility, that I'm a progressive person, I participate in progressive movements, I participate in progressive action. And even as I do that, it is important for me to acknowledge that in the world constructed the way that it is, I may not have participated in the construction of the world the way that it is, but until this world is I am the perpetual beneficiary of that which this thing produces. I am the perpetual beneficiary. It's not blame. It is acknowledgement that while this structure remains, while this structure is protected, every time a person is born, I know that's hard to hear because it's not a knock at your whiteness. Every time a white person is born within a structure constructed of creating perpetual buffer classes between the oppressed and the oppressor, and you are born into a community that sustains that chasm, you can be a progressive person with progressive ideas in your head. But it is important for you to be honest with yourself, to be honest with those around you, because unless you are honest, how can people be safe? How can people really know that they're safe? That what you're saying is not just some shit you say out your mouth, but there ain't no action in your life on a regular daily basis that is exemplary, that who you are actually matches what you say. This is a starting point, is to be perpetually self-aware, holding yourself accountable, taking personal responsibility, and in that taking of personal responsibility, saying, I am going to be an active participant in the deconstruction of what is, so that what is necessary has room to emerge. That's it. I recognize that in this wicked institution that has been constructed at my expense, while at the same time has me a participant in its maintenance. That's what it's for. That I, as a person of European descent, I, as a white-skinned person born on this earth within the context of the moment, am taking personal responsibility. Every time I benefit from what this structure has created, I want to take personal responsibility. I want to acknowledge the ways that being born with white skin in an institution that has weaponized white skin, you too, yes, are the victim of this structure, but you too benefit without even trying, without even actively participating, and you recognize the ways that you have benefited. And so for you who are intellectuals and deny that shit, but for regular, everyday, unintelligent, young white people to say, I know that all I have to do is cry tears if I get pulled over by the police, and typically I'll be, they'll let me go. So I know that if a 16-year-old white girl recognizes privilege at 16 years old and with not a great education, then you progressives, I know y'all know too. Even though y'all be trying to create ways to self-absolve, y'all know too. You know the ways that this monstrosity has benefited you at someone else's expense. And so the whole purpose of accountability is to be honest first with yourself and then honest with the group so that they know whether or not they're safe in space with you, so that they know whether or not you're going to actually actively participate in the necessary transformation of the world. You understand? Those of you who are actual, like, consciously foot dug in white nationalists, crying crocodile tears, we should have listened to black people. I feel like something has to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't no just you on the space trying to elicit some sympathy. I feel like a ritual needs to happen. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like something bigger than that, something symbolic, something huge and symbolic has to happen. Something huge and symbolic. I don't know. I haven't contemplated, but something huge and symbolic. Because it ain't going to be enough for you to make the declaration. I want to take personal responsibility, hold myself accountable, because I believe in the democratic process in America and that my vote has power. And unfortunately, because I voted for Donald J. Trump, the power that was inherent in my vote has contributed to the suffering of others. And I want to take personal responsibility for that. And I want to encourage other Trump voters to do the same. Y'all ain't gonna do that because you don't have any. First of all, you ain't got no courage. You cowards. First of all. Second of all, you don't have any integrity, because only integrity would allow you to do that. Only integrity would say, you know what, I might get some blowback, but I feel like this is what has to happen. I can't just keep complaining about how I didn't know or Trump lied to us or anything like that. That's not even important. I believe in American democracy. I believe in the power of the vote. And if I believe that and now I have, quote, changed my mind or I feel a certain way, then it's my responsibility to say, this is what we say we believe. We say we believe in American democracy. We say every vote counts. And if I honestly believe that and my vote counts and this is the outcome, I can't just accept, quote, the good of the person that I voted into office. I also have to accept responsibility for the negative impact that person being in that position has had on the lives of innocent human beings. The absolute utter destroying of human lives in no time. We're literally just 7 months into this dude's candidacy, his term, and he is there have been over 100,000 Mexican people kidnapped by the state. Now, some of y'all say the state gone rogue. The state ain't gone rogue. The state has always done what the state does. It's only now that it's unavoidable and in mass that y'all feel compelled to comment. Oh, but the state has been doing this. How you think them 2.5 million people ended up in them prisons? You feel what I'm saying? The state does what it does. And it only intensifies with white complicity. The state only is emboldened and intensifies with white complicity. That's the nature of the state, at least the way that it presents itself right now. It has been your complicity in the 2.5 million people locked up in these jails, and however many else, who are on probation or whose lives have been permanently impacted by the corruption of this bitch. It is only when it is intensified and sharpened and is so mass you can't avoid it. You can't not take a position that you start talking about fascism and all that other bullshit. You feel me? So, I don't know, but I feel like they had to be said. I don't even know what got me off. But anyway. Yeah. There were other things that I was going to talk about. And of course, I'm not. Because now it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to go to sleep. Because I have readings to do today. I have elements consultations to do today. I have studying to continue to do today. I have a lot to do. I have jewelry orders. Thank you all for your support of the jewelry store to fill today. I have a meditation wand to make today, and so I have a lot to do. But I want to tell you, yesterday, Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about this this Joker card. It was important, and I completely neglected this Joker card that I pulled out of the garbage can with $100, gold thing on it. That card is synonymous in Ifa tradition with the god Alegba, aka a shoe, right? Which I thought was extremely timely that I pulled that card as the last card out of that trash can on my dumpster dive yesterday. Because tomorrow, today's the 17th, so tomorrow we will be entering into a Mercury retrograde, which is this card. This card, the Jester card, the Joker card, Ashu, Hermes. Who else it represent? Ashu, Hermes, Legba, if you want to call him. Who else? Uh, I forget who else, but that's him. His sign is Mercury. This card is governed by Mercury, the great communicator, the great mediator, right? This card is the great mediator, that space in between. Like, oh, Jesus is also the Joker, right? And so Jesus, as the mediator, says out of his own mouth, there is but one way, because we down here, our lowly selves, right? What Jesus call our sinful selves, we down here. And he says that the only way, there is but one way to the Father, and that is through me. That is through me. You feel me? And so this card is really interesting because it's the devil at the crossroads, right? It's about decisions. It is about turning points in one's life. It is about recognizing the importance of choosing your next direction wisely. What does wisely mean? Intuitively. It means embodied, because the other card that we pulled, which was the Ace of Wands, said talked about the importance of taking risks in this moment, but only as a consequence of, quote, representing both spiritual and material balance. What does that mean? It means trust your intuition. What is your intuition? It's what happens in your body when you are checking in with the memory of your flesh to guide your next decision. We don't talk about it that way, but that's what it is. Intuition is not superfluous. It's not the fuck out there somewhere. Intuition is based on the culmination of all your lived experiences telling your body something. You get the goosebumps, you get the heebie-jeebies, you get the butterflies in your stomach. And so this is how you know how to make your next decision. Your next decision is made based on an embodied experience, based on embodied material information, based on memory. We treat all of these things like they're just these grand abstractions, and they are not. Everything that you know to be, everything that you believe, everything that you accept, everything that you have done is based on a material experience, a material existence. And you treat everything that you identify with as something that is detached from your fleshly experience, because in your mind, no matter what your brand of spirituality, you still accept that there is a lowliness in your physical manifestation, in your flesh, in your fleshly existence. You still accept that your flesh is something that you must escape in order to become enlightened. You still accept that in order to, quote, have a spiritual experience or transcend, or what y'all call that shit, or evolve or elevate or emerge, all of that shit, y'all still see as something that cannot happen in your flesh, because you reject the idea that your flesh is just as much God as your spirit is. You do. You do not accept that your flesh is the absolute manifestation of God, of the power of God, of the miracles of God. You do not accept that your flesh is the evidence of miracles. You don't. You accept that your flesh is punishment. You accept that your flesh is a prison. You accept that your flesh is just a lowly, insignificant vehicle for your shining spirit to just ride around in. You do. And so everything that is the absolute evidence of the value of flesh, you still attribute to something outside your flesh. You call your intuition something that's outside the flesh. You call your divine intervention something outside the flesh. You call synchronicities something outside your flesh. You call your intuition, your good feeling. What else you talking about? All this shit that you be talking about, even your intellect, your intellect, your higher self, inherent in this language and the way you communicate it is still a hatred of and an attempt to, quote, sever the connection between you and your flesh. This is all murder cult talk. This is all death cult communication. Death cult communication. We was born in a death cult. We all were. We were all born in a death cult. We were all born in a murder cult. And in a murder cult, death is what is required to become enlightened. Death is what is required to become your higher self. Death is what is required to transcend your earthly desires, the desires of your flesh that are always inherently wicked. Meanwhile, everything that you accept, believe, understand, feel, experience in your body is a consequence of, not only a consequence of, but the evidence of that your body is always ever present, providing you with the experiences that allow you to come to certain conclusions in your actual physical brain. Because you even attempt to separate the mind from the physical matter, which is the brain. You do that because you hate the flesh. You don't articulate it that way. You've been born that way. You've been taught that way since infancy. You hate the flesh, hence the perpetual necessity to dissect people, to dissect mind from body, spirit from flesh, left from right, left brain from right brain, conscious mind and subconscious mind, right? This constant perpetual, y'all are Frankenstein. Y'all are Frankenstein. Y'all are Frankenstein. Feel me? And so you have to be careful about how you communicate things so that you're not unconsciously repeating a narrative that implies that you hate the material world, that you hate the flesh, you hate the material world, you hate the body you were born in, that the process is flawed, that somehow the mother made a mistake with you. I'm just trying to give y'all a word. Just trying to communicate something to you. All right. And we better get up close and personal with our shadow, with our lower nature, with our lower chakras. You know what I'm saying? Not only get up close and personal, but listen to them, honor them, the shadow, the lower self, the lower chakras. They just out there living in the flesh, heathens that they are. Say, you right. I'm out here living in the flesh, bitch. I'm enjoying living in the flesh. Yes, I like that. That's a right on assessment. Yes, you right. They just, I don't know what to tell you. They just out there in the world living in the flesh. Yes, you're right. You are right. Guess what? I am enjoying this walk through the world in the flesh. I am. Yeah, I am. I am so fortunate to be able to experience pleasure in my body. Yeah, that's you right. You got it exactly right. And then, so that's the Christian shit. They just out there living in the flesh, child. I don't know what's wrong with my daughter. I don't know what's wrong with my son. Hopefully, the Lord will bring them back into their right mind because they just out there in the world just living in the flesh. That's the Christian shit. But your spiritual community says exactly the same thing. Oh, well, poor them. They're just really pulled around by their lower chakras. They're just living in their lower chakras, and you have to learn how to live in the higher chakras. You're not truly transcendent yet. You really haven't become an ascended master yet. Is that not the? It's just a prettier way to say the same old shit. To say the same old shit. Whether it's you living in the flesh or you living in your lower chakras. You ruled around by your lower chakras, your evil ass lower chakras. What's your lower chakras? All about your flesh. Your urge to be embodied, your urge to be safe in that embodiment, your urge to be sustained to your fill in that embodiment. Your desires for sex in that, not only desires, your need for sexual validation in human contact in the closest and most personal way that allows for you to be validated to within this sexual union, looking each other into your eyes to say, damn, that's where I see God in this moment of sexual ecstasy. But we don't see it that way. You feel me? And so we will have these perpetual, terrible sexual relationships because you refuse to see God in those that you entertain in this way. You refuse to see sexual intercourse, even with a stranger, yes, even with a one-night stand, as a ritual of affirmation between the two of you. And in this ritual affirmation, God is able to show her face. Y'all don't see it that way. And so you will never experience sexual pleasure and ecstasy. Not true sexual pleasure and ecstasy is because you hate the flesh. Imagine, here you are trying to experience sexual and spiritual ecstasy, but you hate the flesh. You hate the flesh. So you can only enjoy sex so much with another human being when you hate the flesh. That when you believe you being engaged in the sexual acts is somehow not a spiritual communication. That's some complicated, complex shit. It's some complicated and complex shit that I be thinking about. I be up in here thinking about, what does it mean for us to redefine everything, to name and rename everything, to write and rewrite all history, to change time in real time? What does it mean? What does that look like? What does it look like to imagine, to envision what human sexual ecstasy will look like in a world where oppression no longer exists? Can we even imagine that much perpetual joy and happiness and safety and ecstasy and pleasure, and that be our norm? It be the foundation through which we start our journey in life. To no longer have to enter into human relationships with one another, quote, protecting our heart, quote, guarding our hurt, because, quote, I've been hurt before, and having to look for red flags in a potential lover or in a potential partner, to not have to enter into space that way anymore. Because the sanctity of individual human sovereignty is what reigns supreme in every space. And to know that that is the only society where perfect trust can thrive. I perfectly trust you because this is the world that we have created, where sovereignty is a guarantee, not something you have to work for. Not something that you have to earn, not something that only your resume will allow me to believe your value. That sovereignty is a guarantee from the first breath to the last. And because I honor that more than anything, because I value that more than anything, I value it not only for myself, but for every incarnate on earth. I honor your sovereignty because I honor my sovereignty. I honor my sovereignty because I honor my mother, and because I honor my mama, and I have to honor your mama. And this is the great unifier, the temple of evolutionary emergence, which is the uterus. It's the one thing we all have in common, the uterus. I know that's a lot for y'all, but this is it. And these are the questions that we have to be not only asking ourselves, but propositioning to others, because we have to be able to we have to be able to ask the right questions. And if we don't know enough, if our vision and our imagination has been limited in such a hostile and violent way to guarantee the outcome that has come, right? Then it just the idea of proposing something so seemingly simple yet so radical becomes a radical act. I'm telling you, start to imagine what the world would look like, what human sexual development, what start with that. What human sexual development, human desire will look like. How will it emerge? What will it look like? What will it feel like in the bodies of teenagers experiencing puberty with parents that honor their sovereignty before anything else, even their relationship as parents to these quote children? That sovereignty is the foundation that keeps the entire world safe. Not laws, not rules. I honor your sovereignty, and therefore, this is the basis for how I parent, is honoring your sovereignty. This is the basis for how I will protect your sovereignty before I'll protect my ego. And if I honor your sovereignty as a child experiencing puberty, am I going to just tell you, no, don't have sex until you get married? I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to disarm you from being able to expect genuine sexual pleasure and gratification in a voluntary, informed decision that you make, regardless of anything else. How to prepare you for that, how to prepare you to expect and receive pleasure in a consensual relationship between two sovereign beings. What will that look like? What will sexuality look like? What will human sexual development look like in a world without oppression? Because oppression cannot exist in a society where every single incarnate's individual sovereignty is guaranteed, is recognized, is upheld, is respected, not disrespected, honored, divinely honored. What does human sexuality look like in that society? What does healthy, perfect, ecstatic pleasure look like in a world without judgment? Because judgment is just a malignant byproduct of patriarchal ideology of self-punishment and self-imprisonment. That's all it is. That's all it is. Is based on bullshit bourgeois morality. That's all it is. Judgment. You know what I'm saying? What does a liberated spirit look like? Fully embodied, fully enjoying and living and treating the flesh like the fucking absolute perfect blessing that it is on an absolute perfect planet, created, designed for every creature on earth to live harmoniously within itself, to enjoy itself and experience itself unbridled, unjudged, unleashed. So these questions seem like far out, but they're questions that we have to answer now. That we don't quote answer these questions. We don't quote solve these problems, quote, after we win, or quote, after we change the world. That the answering of these questions, that the pondering of these deep ideas is what changes the world in real time. Is what changes the world in real time. That's what it does. And these questions have to be asked this way of ourselves and of each other, because this is where the solutions will come out. They will reveal themselves, the solutions. I do know, based on how I experience the world, I know we can crack jokes and laugh when I talk about, you know, my personal sexual experience in Los Angeles and how so wildly different it is from my sexual experience and encounters in the South. But these questions and these experiences, I'm not presenting to you in abstraction. There's nothing that I talk to you about, even if I'm talking in jest or like we laughing and cracking jokes. Every single thing that I've ever talked to you about is purposeful. We share our experiences because there is something that we must learn and extract from these experiences to shape something new, to give vision to something new. You understand? And so this is one of the questions that's important to me. I know people think that shit is weird. Sex and human sexuality and how I feel at my best in my body when I am in a sexual union with another human being. When I trust a person enough in the moment to allow them into my body, to expect mutual pleasure, mutual ecstasy, and feel violated and feel unfulfilled and feel betrayed in that act with this person that I've allowed to enter my body. It's not a small statement. It's a political statement when a woman expresses that kind of feeling of betrayal or that kind of feeling of like violation, like, damn. When a person is being told without saying a word that I do not value you as a human. I do not value you as an equal. I do not value you as a person because you have allowed me into your body. That's what we're experiencing. When you hear women say that and they can't articulate why that feeling is so deep, why that feeling, you've heard women say that they had a sexual encounter that was so bad they felt violated, that it felt no different than rape. This is what they've said. They're attempting to express without a political way because we separate our political ideas from, quote, our human sexuality or the rest of the areas of our life. It's a political statement that a woman is making, whether she can articulate that or not, that she has been betrayed in the moment. And so she says violated, or she says, damn, it was so terrible. I felt raped. I felt like betrayed, because it was a betrayal. It was a betrayal of a magnitude that feels the same as a violation of rape. Because you have yielded trust in the moment that you say yes. And when someone actively takes that trust and betrays you in that moment of trust, you understand? And because their patriarchy has told them that once a woman, quote, submits to sex, because again, in a patriarchal world, males, whether they're conscious of it or not, is not the issue. Males have been taught that sex is warfare. That's why the language is warrior language. I hit that, I conquer that I beat that up. It's domination language. It's conquering language. Jump off culture is the worst expression of I made sure that I got what I needed without having to offer her anything in exchange, because I hate her, because I hate the flesh, and I probably hate my filth, to be told. So these questions are important, and they're questions that we have to solve, right? Every question, whether it's political life or economic life or sexual relationships, or what is the radical new, or are we just going to hold on to what has been presented to us as a, quote, great America, and so we don't ever take the opportunity to think outside the box of what America could be, that it never has been? Because you don't even try. Okay, yeah, you love America and what you think America represents, that it's never represented. It doesn't, because you so destroyed and betrayed by what you see in your face, that this is against the law and this is against the Constitution and this is not what America is about, that you don't even take the time to construct in your imagination, well, how is it that we can create an America that actually matches with what we have been conditioned to accept, but does not match our lived experience? How can we actually create that new America? Does the Constitution afford us the ability to create this America that actually exists, that actually matches what it says, what it declares out its writings? Why don't we create that? Instead of saying, oh my God, look at what he's doing to America, even though America has always been malignant. It's always been malignant. Oh my God, look at what he's doing to America, our poor America. Instead of saying, oh, well, you know what? He's just exposing what America's always been. America try to be subtle at this point, and that point, and this point, and that point. But you know what? Truth be told, if we look at the history, America's always been fascist. And so if that's the case, then how can we create a new America that actually represents who we are within America and the diversity in America, and can actually serve America for real, as opposed to this billionaire class that has just pulled an in-your-face fucking coup, and you ain't even booked against it. You feel me? How can we do that instead? Because they've been playing in our face this whole time. Everybody that lives here has been the victim of America, except the wealthy few. Every working class white person has been the victim of America. Every single one. And they promise they just keep hedging their bets on one day that they too can be a billionaire or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everybody here, always, since the beginning of this monstrous bitch, has been a victim of America. And so it's not a contradiction. I love the land I live on. I love the continental United States of America. I love that it's called the United States of America. I love this land. I do. I love this country. And when I say this country, I mean just what I said. I love the geographical country that is known as the United States of America. It's okay to say that. I love the geographical location on this planet that is identified as the United States of America. I can say that and still say I have never and will never trust the institution that is named the United States of America. That's not a contradiction. Because everybody that I know, especially those people that look like me, are talking about we getting the fuck up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my paperwork right. You feel me? I'm about to move to Ghana. I'm about to move to Nigeria. Or I'm about to move to South America or whatever. And that's fine. It's not a judgment. They can do that, and that's okay. And when I tell them I have never and right now still do not feel compelled that my mission in life, my purpose in life, my destiny in life is to leave this country. I'm not being romantic about it, because I also have been quick to jump up and be the fuck out and leave everything where it is and start all over. You understand? So I am still open to that intervention if it becomes an intervention that is necessary and unavoidable. But I do not see myself. Thank you so much, Diane Reeds, for the donation, darling. I do not see right now, and I don't feel it in my body, even as seemingly chaotic as shit gets here in LA. I still have not once felt compelled to say, okay, this is inevitable. I'm going to have to beat the hell up out of here. Where am I going to go? I haven't felt that. And I've been in places where I felt that kind of urgency, and that's not this. I am open, like I always have been. Allow me to be open to receive what is for me, even if it makes me uncomfortable. You feel me? And I have typically tried to honor the urges that I feel, those that make me uncomfortable. That hasn't happened yet. And so, and if it does, I might be up on here saying, okay, I changed my mind. Look like LA ain't it no more. Look like I'm about to have to move to another country. And I'll be sharing that with y'all, saying this is why, and this is what led up to this decision. That's not it right now. I feel the same way today, as crazy as LA has been. I moved here 7 years ago. I feel today exactly the same kind of optimism and certainty and like wonder and massively untapped potential in the city as the day that I decided, oh my God, I don't think I'm going back to the South. I don't think I'm going back home. I feel exactly the same way today. Exactly the same way. That's a hell of a statement, Seven. This apartment in my whole life is the longest place I've ever lived. I told you, it didn't hesitate. I would be, let me feel wrong in my body 1 minute, and I'd be like, baby, we got to move. Why we got to move? Because this ain't right. I got to be somewhere else. And pack up what you can, get your clothes, get your toys. We'll get everything else new when we get there. We the fuck up out of here. That ain't never been no thing for me. No thing. This is the longest consistently, abode that I've lived in. Because even though I lived in Florida 15 years, child, I had so many addresses in Florida. I had so many addresses in Florida. I feel today, even with the incredibly insane, off-the-chain shit that's happened to me in LA, I feel exactly the same way today as I did 7 years ago when I made the decision that this was home. And I never thought I would live in LA. Fuck LA. LA is overrated as hell. I never live in this beach. That was what I was saying all the way out here. People's like, your ass ain't coming home. Your ass ain't coming back to the South. I was like, y'all got like fucked up. I would never live in California. Ew, whatever. I like to visit. Give me a 4-day weekend. I'm straight. You feel me? But this was the time. This was the moment. It was different. I'd been to LA so many times before. Never, every single time I'd have a great time and be ready to go back home when it was time to go home. It was not this. The timing was not right. But her voice was loud when I got out here, baby. When I say loud, her voice was loud. And every day, all these years later, every day, there is constant confirmation. And I'm going to honor that. I know y'all be worried about me. I get it every day. Even the brother I was talking to today on the phone, he was like, wow, man, your ass ain't left California yet? Nope. Want to come visit? Nope. You ain't going nowhere? Nope. Not for the foreseeable future. Nope. Yeah. So anyway, I love this country. I love the geographical location commonly known as the United States of America. And at the same time that I love the geographical location that is commonly known as the United States of America, I hate with my whole being the wicked, diabolical instrument, the Godhead of the current age, known as the United States of America, that was born and baptized in the blood of the innocent, has maintained itself by the murder and the blood of the innocent, has grown malignant to grand proportions off the blood and the labor and the resources of the innocent, and is the exact extreme presentation of a death murder cult. That's the United States of. I hate that wicked bitch. Well, I still love beyond articulation, the geographical location known as the United States of America. That's not a contradiction. But are we armed with the ideas that allow us to radically express something new? Because I know too many people who be like, damn, that makes so much sense. Yes, that's what I'm feeling in my body. Yeah, I love the land of America, but I hate the institution. Damn, I never thought about it that way. I've had that conversation here in California with indigenous people. Like, yeah, this is my shit. Like, I love the land. I hate the state. That's what they want to say. I hate the state. I love the land. I hate the state. I love the land. I hate the institution. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot we have to work out. But in the meantime, again, I want to reiterate, email me. And in the subject header, put something like to plot and scheme or something like that. And if you're interested in the plot and scheme, like I said, you're going to email me your snail mail, post office box, snail mail, whatever it is. And I am going to handwrite a letter within the next 2 days explaining to you what the plot and the scheme is. But like I will reiterate at the beginning, please don't waste my time to ease your curiosity. Don't do that. I'll be disappointed. Do not waste my time with your just trying to, get your curious itch on, because I'm not here for that. I'm going to be handwriting letters to people explaining what the plot and scheme is in the either direct or indirect role that they can play in the execution of the plot and scheme. And it's radical. And when you hear it, you're going to be like, oh my God, yes, this is fucking perfect. And it's so easy, and damn, this shit is brilliant. Because as soon as it came down on me, I was like, oh my God, yes. This could change every fucking thing. Everything. It's like sometimes the most genius shit is the most obvious shit. It's the easiest shit. It's the most obvious shit. And we be in there like deep dives and trying to pull back the layers. And sometimes it don't require that. Sometimes it don't require that. Sometimes the shit is easy. It's easy and it's brilliant. It's easy and it's brilliant and easy and easy, because I'm not trying to create easy and brilliant. It's basic and brilliant, and it will change it. When I tell you it will change everything, and ever since I got this idea 3 weeks ago, it's like the confirmations have been not subtle, child. Because I was like, oh no, this is some crazy shit that just came in my brain. I don't know where this came from, whatever. And then confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. This is the idea. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is the thing. This is the thing. So let me tell you, this last thing I'm saying, that I'm gonna get up off here. So when I was, maybe because I told you I study cults a lot. Like, there aren't too many cult documentaries I haven't seen. I study cults a lot. Not only do I study cults a lot, I study serial killers a lot, because there is an extraordinary amount of symmetry between the two, serial killers and cult leaders. There is an uncanny and uneasy symmetry between the two. So I studied them a lot. And there was one, it was kind of like, what do you call it? It was like a satirical documentary that came out. I believe it came out on HBO first, maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago, something like that. It's really funny. It is a satire, but it's based on real historical events. And it's called 10 Ways to Become a Cult Leader. I think that's the name of it. Hey, stop biting her. It's called 10 Ways to Become a Cult Leader. I believe, yeah, that's the name of it. 10 Ways to Become a Cult Leader. You can watch it on YouTube, the whole thing. 10 Ways to Become a Cult Leader. And I liked it a lot because, again, it was meant to be funny, but it's like, it's produced in a way that's literally like a lecture, like a workshop, right? So these are the things that you must do in order to become a cult leader. Number 1, do. Number 2, ba-boop. And then each point, he will draw out a specific cult and how that cult came to be, came to its, its apex, or its, its crescendo, who it was or how it started. Each point would highlight, to make the point of that point, another cult, right? And one of the things that stood out, like loud, is that every successful, quote, cult, every successful cult did this early on in its process. And the point, I don't remember what it was, maybe 3 or 4. The point was, oh no, I'm not live streaming from TikTok. I've been banned from going live on TikTok until, I don't remember, like maybe the 18th or something. I've been banned temporarily on TikTok. I'd only gone live on there 3 times. They was like, nah, bitch, and cut my feed. So I think I have a couple of days. I'll check. But yeah, this is the only way I'm streaming, and it too is acting funky. So I'm about to get up off of here in a minute. But anyway, this point that always stood out to me as a necessity for us, as a necessity for the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Like, that was the one thing that stood out in a way that that resonated. That was like, ah, yes, okay, yeah. The rest of that shit was like sketch. It was like, oh, damn, okay, yeah. So go watch it if you have the opportunity. It's called 10 Ways to Become a Cult Leader. It's hella funny and hella disturbing at the same time. But the one thing that was on there that I was like, yes, this is what we have to do. It said, once you get your ducks in a row, once you establish like your bylaws and like who your deity is, or or whatever, like your little shit, your little foundational shit. Once you do that, now, and the point was create a spectacle. I said, oh fuck. Right? And so he goes down the line of, quote, the most successful cults, and very on in their developmental stages, they took great effort, great energy at focusing on, quote, creating the spectacle, creating the spectacle. And some of the examples that he used, I was like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? Damn. Like, this isn't necessarily considered a cult, but one of the things that it's not considered a cult, as a matter of fact, but one of the things that he drew out about the necessity of spectacle is when, I forget what year it was, but when, I think it's called Atheists of America or something like that, the organization of like atheists and shit, the National Organization of Atheists or whatever. He said, you know, they didn't have, like, as an organization, it didn't have a huge following. I forget what year he said it was, but in the beginning, they didn't have a huge following, wasn't well known. And what they decided was, in order to meet their goals, I'm obsessed too. Taim, I'm obsessed too. There's another one I'll tell y'all about a little later. But he said the Atheists of America, or whatever their organization is called, decided that they needed more people like them to join this organization. The atheists had always just kind of made a declaration that they were atheists, but there was no like centralized, you know, organization that was, quote, leading the atheists or whatever. And so they decide that they only had enough money at the time, because it was a new organization. They only had enough money to do this thing. And I think they only did it for maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, something really, really short. But they pulled their money together to buy a billboard, the primary main billboard that's in Times Square in New York, right? Where it's like that building that splits off like that. It's got the massive billboard, right? And it wasn't nothing flashy. It wasn't a lot of colors. It wasn't anything, because you can see, like, you know, movie trailers on that big thing in Times Square, all this shit. It wasn't none of that. In black and white, on that billboard, they paid for, I think, 1 day or maybe 1 week, something like that. It was a short period of time. On that billboard in Times Square, it said I forget, the message was crazy simple. But on that billboard in black and white, it was like, God is dead, or God is not real. And then it just had their website along the bottom, also in black and white, smaller. But it was like something radical and simple and in your face. It was like, God's not real, or God's dead, or something crazy like that. And then it was, you know, atheistofamerica.org or whatever. And they say that in 24 hours, they had received, it was like an extraordinary amount of emails and membership. It was like 34,000 or something like that in 24 hours. But that was an example of, quote, creating the spectacle that eventually exponentially grew Atheists of America, or whatever that organization was. A billboard that they just scrounged their little pennies together in Times Square or Times Square or whatever, Madison Garden, wherever the fuck it was. But that little, you know, that little famous place right in New York City, and accomplished their goals by creating the spectacle. So this, quote, plot and scheme that I'm talking about is on that level. It's bigger than that level, as a matter of fact, but it's on that level of spectacle. It's on that level of spectacle. So that's why the quote mysticism and the quote secrecy, the mystery and the secrecy is temporary. It's a security measure in the interim phase, but within 2 months or so, it will be unveiled, if you will. Everybody will know. So again, hence why I'm not typing anything about it on my computer. I'm not Google searching anything about it on my laptop, on my phone, Everything is in my head right now. Absolutely. I haven't mentioned it. No whisper to anybody else about it. Just to make sure that it is the way that I want it to be, which is top secret until I set the terms for its revelation. And then the interim, you guys email me, and I will, if you are interested in actual participation. Do you understand? Do not say I want to know, because your curiosity is itching the fuck out of you. I want to know because I want to see how I'm over here in New Zealand, but how I can participate. If you're not talking about being either a indirect or direct participant in the plot, in the strategy, no. So if you're interested now, cool. I will send you the handwritten letter. But outside of that, this is not for you yet. I'll create something that's for you. You feel me? Now I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna do a live tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Friday. After I see what my schedule for readings and stuff, because tomorrow's Thursday, and I have a couple of in-house clients, hands-on clients that are coming tomorrow, and then I have a couple of readings that I have to do tomorrow, and a lot of busy work on the computer and some jewelry to fill. Tomorrow's a full day, so I will do a live tomorrow. I don't know what time that's going to be, but I will let you know. And until then, I will say good night. Mommy and I are one, and I'm so happy that you could join me at this witching hour to just talk a little bit, and for me to hopefully encourage you about the giant that you are, even as you may see yourself as small. You are a giant walking among men, and now we have to embody that shit all the time. So mommy and I are one. Good night. Sleep deep and peaceful and beautifully, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Mm.